Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I am in Konoha. I have 10 skill bars. Chapter 41. To allocate the skill bar in this way, one is to enhance water style and body flicker technique as soon as possible, so that the great sage can perform calculations faster. 2 water styles, plus water breathing, is equivalent to hanging 3 water styles at the same time. The breath of water can simultaneously increase water style, sword skills, speed, reaction, and even a slight improvement in physical fitness. Of course, the main enhancements are water style and sword skills. The body flicker technique runs every 20 seconds, the sword art runs about 2 minutes, and the water style runs every 30 seconds. According to this situation, the great sage analyzed that every hour of operation can increase the calculation degree by 1%. In other words, the calculation can be completed in 100 hours. Basically, the calculation can be completed in 4 days. 4 days might not be too long, but Shiyu couldn't wait any longer. Soon to graduate from the ninja school, Shiyu wants to master all the 5 escapes before graduation. Great Sage, calculus does not affect the use of analysis ability. Shiyu was stunned for a moment. This means that he can also analyze the skills during the calculation, thus completely grasping the 5 escapes. In that case, you can go to the Konoha training ground for a stay. Analyze the ninjutsu used by these genin one by one. I looked at the time and it was already dinner time. At this time, there should be few people going to the training ground, so don't think about it today. But when the system is calculating, Shiyu will not do nothing stupidly. Although you can't use the calculation ability, you can update the skill status. The skill status of water breathing can be updated, and the skill status of water style nature transformation and body flicker technique can be updated as much as possible. This can also further shorten the calculation time. Practice is essential. Afterwards, Shiyu practiced body blinking and water style nature transformation. Body flicker technique updated 32 skill status. Water style nature transformation updated the skill status 4 times. The skill status of water breathing has been updated once. The less the number of updates, it means that it is basically the best state that Shiyu can do at present. The next day, Shiyu got up, feeling the amount of chakra now. It is about 500 times that of ordinary people, and now the increase rate of chakra has slowed down. However, 500 times the chakra of an ordinary ninja is basically enough. Even 3rd generation does not have such a terrifying amount of chakra as Shiyu. In terms of physique, Shiyu feels that he has also strengthened a bit, but because he has been dealing with swordsmanship recently. The main growth is speed and responsiveness. There is no skill column for illusion for the time being, and the growth of mental power can only be given up at that time. While going out, Shiyu saw a note was placed in the mailbox at the door. Some accidents, who in the whole Konoha will send me a letter? Strictly speaking, it is not a letter. Open the note. Tiantian. Mr. Shiyu, your special ninja knife has been prepared, and you can come and pick it up today. Oh, correct. When I went to order ninja knives last time, I left my address for Tiantian. It seems that there is no time to go to the training ground after school this afternoon. Go and get your own special ninja knife first. I don't know what kind of ninja sword it will be. Shiyu is looking forward to it. So much so that all day today, Shiyu seemed a little absent-minded, which made Ino feel a little strange. With Shiyu in the skill bar, not to mention how powerful the function of the skill bar is. The analytical ability of a great sage alone allowed Shiyu to easily grasp all the theoretical knowledge in class. The theoretical knowledge that was life-threatening for Shiyu before. Now it's all a breeze. After school, Shiyu went straight to Tiantian's ninja shop. Came here, waiting for Tiantian to send the last batch of customers away. Taking Shiyu to the small private room in the store, Tiantian mysteriously took out a ninja knife and wrapped it in cloth. Make it look mysterious. Shiyu couldn't help being curious. How about this ninja knife? Looking at Shiyu's impatient look every day, he couldn't help but smile. Now you look like a child. What happened to the child? I was originally a child. Shiyu stared at the ninja knife in Tiantian's hand, and Tiantian didn't keep his hand. This ninja blade uses a special metal. Since I promised you, I will do my best. Hope you like it. As he spoke, he untied the cloth on it. Shiyu was stunned for a moment. So beautiful, this ninja knife. The black blade has a light blue blade pattern, the length of a standard samurai sword, but the width of the blade is slightly increased. The handle of the knife wrapped with black rope is very simple. But this is what makes it more suitable for this knife. If it weren't for the blue glow of the knife pattern, Shiyu felt that drawing a knife would have looked a lot like Ichigo's Tensa Zangetsu. It can't be said that they are exactly the same, but there are also differences. How is it? Do you like it? I'm a little nervous every day. Hearing this, Shiyu nodded again and again. I like it. I like it so much. You pick it up and try. Shiyu picked up the ninja sword. The weight was a bit beyond Shiyu's imagination. Good weight. Tiantian felt a little helpless. There's no way this special metal is heavy, but it's the best choice for making ninja swords or other weapons. Although Shiyu said it was heavy, the movement of swinging the blade did not appear to be strenuous at all. On the contrary, it was very easy. Seeing Shiyu like this every day, although I know that Shiyu is not small, I didn't expect him to be so relaxed. It seems to be suitable for you to use. It's quite suitable. Although it's a little heavier, it seems to fit me perfectly. Tian blushed slightly. Perfect fit. Give it a name. Although ninja sword does not have to have a name, it may be more powerful if it has a name. Clam. Shiyu couldn't help laughing. Is there such a saying? Superstition is not unique to our original world. The words of the name. Shiyu looked at the pitch-black blade. It's called Zagetsu. Since it looks so much like Ichigo's Tensa Zangetsu, then just take the last two words, Zangetsu. Zangetsu. Moonlight Shiyu. Ninja Zagetsu. It's a good fit. Thank you Tiantian, this ninja knife is simply amazing. Even if he hadn't tried it, Shiyu could hear the sound of the wind being cut when he swung the knife lightly. The sharpness of this ninja knife surprised Shiyu. With this knife, the power of the breath of water will become even more terrifying. The thumb of his left hand slid across the blade lightly, and the cold touch also seemed a little different. Ordinary metal feels a little different, as if it has a strange cool air. Shiyu scabbard Zangetsu and looked up at Tian. Thank you, Tian, I like this knife very much. As long as you like it, then our previous bet will be considered complete. Shiyu nodded. The length of this ninja sword seemed a bit long for a 12-year-old kid to pin it directly on his waist. It can only be carried horizontally behind the back. This makes it easier to draw a knife. Shiyu-kun, are you free tonight? I want to invite you to dinner. Dinner. Shiyu froze for a moment. He looked at the time. At this time there may be genin practicing in Konoha's training ground. He wants to go to a camp and try to analyze one or two ninjutsu. It would be better if it is water-style ninjutsu. And it's not good to just refuse Tiantian's invitation so directly. I just received such a precious ninja sword from someone else. I can't do it today. I'm about to graduate. I have to hurry up and practice. When I graduate from the ninja school, can I invite you? This reason is very good. Tiantian also thinks it is understandable. The period of graduation is indeed very important. Good. Don't forget Shiyu-kun. Don't worry. What I remember will never be forgotten. Shiyu got up to leave. Tiantian also got up to see him off, and the two came to the door of the shop. At this moment, Shiyu suddenly felt a sharp gaze staring at him. Turning around and looking in the direction of that gaze, Neji. I haven't met Neji, have I? Why does this guy look at him with unfriendly eyes? Shiyu frowned, and squinted at Tian beside him. Could it be because of Tian? The watermelon-headed Lee next to Neji also looked at Shiyu. And he walked directly towards Shiyu. You are the guy who is very strong in throwing hidden weapons and has amazing swordsmanship, that Tiantian said. Hello, my name is Rock Lee, Konoha Genin. Seeing Rock Lee stretch out his hand, Shiyu also stretched out his hand. Moonlight Shiyu, a student of ninja school, hasn't graduated yet. I didn't expect you to be so strong before graduation. I look forward to the moment when you successfully graduate and become Genin. If there is a chance, then I will challenge your swordsmanship to see if it is really that strong. Lee said very seriously. Shiyu shrugged. No problem. Now Shiyu is still rushing to the training ground. There is no time to say more. Finally, I said hello to Tiantian and left. And when Shiyu left, Neji looked at Shiyu's back and spoke slowly. Yesterday, this guy alone defeated hundreds of genin on the training ground. What? Xiao Li froze for a moment. Is this guy so strong? One person defeated hundreds of people. Neji looked at Shiu's back more and more seriously. How could he not pay attention to such a genius? It's normal to be hostile. If that's the case, then I look forward to fighting this guy even more. Xiaoli clenched his fist, and he was also a genius. To challenge such a genius would prove that even hard work can surpass genius. No matter what Neji and Xiaoli think of Shiu. At this moment, Shiu has arrived at Konoha's training ground. Sure enough, when it was 4 or 5 o'clock, there were no more ninjas on the training ground. Now there are only a dozen people training, and most of the training is physical training. Ninjutsu training. Until there is really one person. But this guy is not using water style. It's wind style. Although it's not water style, it's a bit disappointing, but it's okay. Wind style. At least let yourself master one more nature transformation. Great sage, can that guy's wind style be analyzed? Single quote. Great sage. Of course, it is being analyzed. Shiu watched the progress of the analysis. 10%, 12%, 14%. The growth rate is still good. Shiu estimates that the analysis will take about 2 minutes to complete. And that guy doesn't seem to plan to continue practicing. If he stops practicing, then his analysis will be interrupted. Fortunately, after he just took a break, he continued to perform ninjutsu in seals. This guy's chakra has also consumed a lot in 2 consecutive practice sessions. Stop and start recovering. And Shiu nodded in satisfaction. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring new skills, wind style, beast wave palm, nature transformation wind. This wind style is not small, and it is important to get the nature transformation of the wind attribute. Wait, how about I develop wind style? Single quote. Needless to say, wind style's instant body must be faster and more silent than water style's instant body. Great sage. Estimated calculation time is 6 months. Well, it is directly 6 times that of the water instant body. Forget it, water style is already under development. Even if you want to develop other instant bodies, you have to wait until the development of water style instant bodies is completed. Shiu looked at the genins leaving the training ground one after another. Shiu didn't linger too long. After all, there were not many people left. Turning to go home, Shiu also tried to use the body flicker technique to hurry. The body flicker technique is basically a day on the skill bar, and now Shiu also wants to know what level it has reached. Swish. For a moment, Shiu disappeared directly in place, and the sudden burst of acceleration made Shiu directly appear on the roof tens of meters away. The speed of the body flicker technique really isn't a joke. Single quote. What if you add instant body through escape? Single quote. Shiu's figure gradually disappeared, and even his breath disappeared. In the next second, Shiu, who was in a transparent state, cast body flicker technique. Although there was a faint sound of breaking wind, it was very faint. If you didn't pay attention deliberately, you wouldn't notice it. It seems that it is a very good combination to cooperate with transmitting dun and blinking body. The current explosive speed of the body flicker technique is no longer the level that ordinary ninjas can reach. Instantaneous body plus penetration, speed plus undetectable aura, this kind of elusive effect. Shiu can imagine that during the real battle, he suddenly disappears and suddenly appears in an unexpected place of the opponent. What would be the effect of giving the opponent an unexpected blow? Basically, guys whose strength is similar to his own can only be killed in seconds. When the water instant body is successfully developed, let's strengthen the through dun as well. Single quote. Shiu, you're finally back. You came back so late, where did you go? As soon as Shiu came back to the door of the house, he was stopped by Gale. He was not far from his home. Go to the ninja shop and get the custom ninja knife. Saying that, Shiu exposed Zangetsu behind him, and didn't care too much when seeing Zangetsu Hayate. After all, no matter how special a ninja sword is, nothing can be seen through the scabbard. Are you in such a hurry? Hayate smiled. Didn't I promise you before that I would give you a ninja sword after you graduate from ninja school? Shiu opened his mouth to say something, but Haifeng waved his hand. Forget it, you can buy it yourself. Brother Haifeng, is there anything I can do for you? Hearing the words, Haifeng first touched his head, and then spoke slowly. Well, your swordsmanship, can you let me see it? So I wanted this. Shiu smiled. Of course. My own water-breathing swordsmanship was tailor-made by the great sage for himself, and no one else would be able to learn it even if they wanted to. But Haifeng wants to take a look, so naturally there is no problem. Haifeng taught him Konoha Ryu's swordsmanship before, which was considered a great help to him. In the future, I can give Gale a little return. The old place. Shiyu said. The old place. Blast was a little confused. What is the old place? It's the forest that Brother Haifeng took me to before, and it is now my secret training base. Hearing this, Haifeng nodded. Okay. After a simple dinner, the two came to the grove together. Seeing that this place has become completely different from when I came here before. Haifeng was stunned for a moment and then understood. These are all your masterpieces. That's right. Looking at the potholes on the ground around, the cracks, the broken and fallen trees around. These are naturally the traces left by Shiyu during his cultivation. Let us start, Shiyu said as he pulled Zangetsu out. Looking at the pitch-black ninja sword, the blue light flowing like water flowed from the blade. Moonlight Gale was stunned. This ninja sword is not ordinary. Single quote. Swish. Shiyu wields this ninja sword. This is the first time to use Zagetsu, and uses Zagetsu to perform water breath. That hearty feeling, Shiyu felt that this time, the real power of water breathing was fully erupted. As Shiyu performed one move after another, Moonlight Gale on the side looked more and more frightened, but at the same time felt very helpless. Soon Shiyu used the breath of water completely. Turning to look at Haifeng, how is Brother Haifeng? Do you understand? When Yan Yugong Gaifeng smiled awkwardly, it seems that I am completely inferior to you in terms of swordsmanship. I can't understand your swordsmanship at all. Although I can feel the power of it, it seems impossible to learn it, or even learn from it. Seeing Haifeng's dejected look, Shiyu comforted him. It's normal not to understand. The breath of water is a sword technique created by myself, maybe it's impossible for others to learn it. Gale could only nod his head. And at this moment Shiyu, looking down at his hand, the water flowing on it is chakra. It has been more than a day since water style was hung on the skill bar. When using water breathing just now, Shiyu felt that the power of water breathing has increased. The most obvious improvement is the control of water style. Shiyu feels that now only one thought is needed to complete the nature transformation of water style, and at the same time, a little chakra can also perform a very powerful nature transformation. Is this the change after the enhancement of nature transformation? Now even Shiyu has a strange feeling. This feeling is not for swordsmanship, but ninjutsu. Shiyu closed his eyes and scabbard Zangetsu. In the next second, the hands began to seal. He suddenly opened his eyes and looked forward, and the surging water behind him swept out instantly. Suddenly, it swept wildly towards the forest. Boom boom boom. The sound of roaring running water rang out, and a huge 10-meter wave that was raised in an instant rushed towards the forest. Gaifeng, who was feeling emotional, suddenly looked up and was stunned when he saw this scene. Shiyu, what ninjutsu is this used for? Water style. What kind of water style has such terrifying power? If he knew that Shiyu only used water style, Shui Lu Bo, how would he feel about such a low-level water style ninjutsu? And when the water slowly dissipated, Haifeng opened his mouth, wanting to ask Shiyu. But at the moment Shiyu seems to be thinking about something, very focused. There is still a foolish smirk on the corner of his mouth. What's going on here? And the reason why Shiyu can laugh is that the power of water style has been increased by more than 10 times. Using the same chakra, the power of water style burst out as enhanced again. Now Shiyu understands why the Uchiha Madara used fire style to force the entire coalition to resist together. This is the change of ninjutsu after the enhancement of nature transformation. And more importantly, he didn't spit out the water flow from his mouth just now, but directly let the water flow generate outside his body. This is another new capability enhanced by nature transformation. In places where there is no water, it is also possible to directly control chakra to perform nature transformation in vitro. However, doing so will weaken the power of ninjutsu, but it can strengthen the control. On the contrary, if nature transformation is performed directly in the body, the power of ninjutsu will be stronger, but the corresponding control will be weakened. When the nature transformation is enhanced to a certain extent, you can choose to release ninjutsu directly outside the body, instead of spraying it from the mouth. Shiyu was still carefully appreciating the enhanced power of water-style nature transformation when Gale came closer. Patted Shiyu on the shoulder. Shiyu, are you okay? The awakened Shiyu nodded in a daze. I'm fine. Haifeng didn't know whether Shiyu was really okay or not, but he looked around and smiled helplessly. Shiyu, it seems that you have to go to the advanced training ground to practice in the future. Otherwise, with such a toss every day, sooner or later this place will become barren. Advanced training ground. Shiyu froze for a moment. Does Konoha have such a place? Advanced training ground, what is that place? Haifeng patted his head. That's right. You're not even a ninja, so you can't go yet. With a sigh, he also started to explain to Shiyu what an advanced training ground is. Just like Konoha's training ground, the advanced training ground is for Chunin and even Jonin to train. After all, after reaching the level of Chunin and above, some skills are not easy to perform in public. Everyone has their own secrets, so the advanced training ground is the place where Chunin and Jonin usually train. When Shiyu heard this, his eyes suddenly brightened. It turns out that Konoha still has such a place. Shiyu's eyes sparkled. Let's talk about why there is only genin on the training ground, and the general genin training is nothing special. Basically, the skills mastered are not secrets. If it is a family secret technique or something, then these ninjas have a family training ground, and they will not train with ordinary ninjas. As for Chunin or Jonin, there is a special training ground. That would be pretty easy to handle. Shiyu looked at Moonlight Gale. Let's go. It's so late. With your current strength, there must be no problem with graduation. Let's stop here for today's training, Gale said. Shiyu nodded in agreement. If Shiyu didn't go back so early in the past, it would be a complete waste of time. But today is different. Coincidentally, the Great Sage is still calculating the water instant technique, and the only thing Shiyu can do is to update the skill status. But there is something to do. Go home with the blast, and the two separate when they are almost home. Shiyu also went straight back to his room. After returning to the house, Shiyu took off the ninja sword on his body. Afterwards, he changed into a suit that was more convenient for movement, and found a black cloth to cover his face. This outfit looks like it's ready to do something bad. Shiyu looked at himself in the mirror. Basically there would be no problem. Thanks to Brother Haifeng, otherwise I didn't know there was such a place in Konoha. I don't know if the Jonins will spare time for training at night. Hey, today, Shiyu is going to make good use of Tudun, which he hasn't used very much. Since there is the ability of Through-dun, which all men dream of, it is really a pity not to make good use of it. Tonight, I'm going to peep. Under the night, Shiyu launched the Through-dun, not only hiding his figure, but even his breath disappeared. The location of Konoha's advanced training venue was determined by asking Haifeng in advance. Shiyu quickly shuttled between the Konoha streets. Many ninjas from Anbu were also found along the way. In the middle of the night, there are so many Anbu ninjas monitoring Konoha everywhere. However, Shiyu also felt the horror of transgression for the first time. These Anbu ninjas didn't even notice him, the last time Shiyu was standing behind one of the Anbu ninjas. The other party has not noticed Shiyu's existence. After the experiment, Shiyu felt more at ease. These Anbu ninjas are not weak, even they can't find their own existence. Ordinary Jonin should not be able to find it. As long as you don't provoke any elite Jonin, there shouldn't be any problem. Shiyu came to the so-called Konoha Advanced Training Ground. Even at night, the lights here are still on. For Jonin, they usually have a lot of tasks, and they rarely have time for training. Vacations are usually used to train and consolidate their strength. And if I am not particularly tired at night, I will also choose to stay in the training venue for a while. Not to mention becoming stronger, but also to maintain a good fighting state. Jonin may be involved in dangerous missions at any time. Shiyu sneaked into it silently, and the power of penetration made Shiyu feel very good again. No one noticed at all. The advanced training ground is not like the Konoha training ground outside. It is divided into many different areas, and each area is a separate small training ground. And there is also a venue that simulates 5 different attributes of water, fire, earth, wind, and thunder. It is convenient for Jonin or Chunin to train their ninjutsu in a targeted manner. It is completely different from the open-air Konoha training ground. It's 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, and there are still 7 rooms lit. There are still 7 Jonins who are practicing, Shiyu nodded. The Jonins seem to be working hard too. Shiyu looked at one of them, apparently a small training ground for water style. Go directly to the other side, and climb in carefully through the window. The layout of the room simulates a river. This Jonin is standing on a boulder in the center, practicing this water style jutsu. Water style, water dragon bomb. Boom. The water flow that rolled up in an instant rose from around his body, and then gathered to form a water dragon. Beep. It slammed into the distant wall fiercely, but the fierce water impact could not leave a trace on the wall. It can be seen that the material of the wall is definitely special. But now Shiyu didn't care about the material of the wall, but squatted in the corner with his eyes wide open, looking excitedly at the Jonin in front of him. You are the one. Single quote. I hope you will cheer me on tonight. Single quote. Great Sage, start working. Single quote. Great Sage. Analyzing. 4%, 8%, 11%. The speed of analysis is not slow. Very good. Great Sage. Because host has surpassed 99% of water style ninjas in mastering water style, the speed of analyzing water style will be accelerated. The enhanced control of water style also speeds up the analysis of water style, which is very reasonable. Single quote. Congratulations to host for getting a new skill, water style, water dragon bomb technique. The acquisition of this ninjutsu directly increased Shiyu's calculation progress by 5%. A water style ninjutsu increases calculation progress by 5%. This made Shiyu even more excited, now only hope that this Jonin can perform 2 more water style ninjutsu. And at this time, a series of hidden weapons suddenly appeared in the wall that was hit by the water dragon bomb earlier. The Jonin hastily began to seal. Water style, water barrier. The water flow rising from the front in an instant directly blocked the attacks of these hidden weapons. Water style, waves. A stream of water was spit out of the mouth, like a football-sized water column, rushing directly into the distance. Beep. The impact is astonishing. In terms of impact alone, it is stronger than Shiyu's water chaos. Congratulations to host for acquiring new skills, water style, water barrier, water style, waves. 2 more water style ninjutsu. This directly increased the calculation progress by 15% in less than 10 minutes, which directly saved Shiyu 15 hours of time. This sneak peek tonight was perfect. Although it is Jonin, it is almost the same after 3 water style ninjutsu, and he took a break for a while. Then it seemed that he was going to leave, the other Jonin were similar, and Shiyu was also going to leave. With 3 water style ninjutsu, today's harvest is already very good. Continue peeping tomorrow. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, advanced physical skill. Shiyu sighed silently, very helpless. The voyeurism for 2 consecutive days did not get more water style ninjutsu as smoothly as expected. These Jonins spend more time in training gymnastics. Fortunately, I met an earth style Jonin in yesterday's peep, and got 2 earth style ninjutsu. Earth style, soil substitute. Earth style, rock protrusion. The 2 earth style ninjutsu allowed Shiyu to obtain the nature transformation of the earth attribute. And today's voyeurism was even more difficult. There are only 3 Jonin who train, and they are all training in gymnastics. It also allowed Shiyu to upgrade the school-level physical arts to advanced physical arts. The upgraded advanced gymnastics are naturally not comparable to school-level gymnastics. The effect of hanging it on the skill bar is definitely much better. After the water style water instant technique is calculated, then hang an advanced physical skill on the skill bar. Physical enhancement should also be put on the agenda. In terms of the amount of chakra now, due to the recent few days, Shiyu's skill column only has 1 chakra refining technique. The amount of chakra that is raised is very small. The addition of 3 days only increased the amount of chakra by 3/10. The current amount of Shiyu chakra is equivalent to about 620 times that of ordinary ninjas. The amount of chakra is already terrifying. Ninjutsu, fire style, fire dragon technique, wind style, beast wave palm, earth style, soil stand, rock protrusion, water style, water chaos, waves, water barrier, water dragon bomb technique. Mastering these ninjutsu means that Shiyu has mastered the nature transformation of the 4 chakras of fire, wind, earth, and water at the same time. A ninja who has mastered 4 kinds of nature transformation at the same time is already quite a pervert existence in the ninja world. Plus Shiyu also has 2 dun and boil style. Combined with the breath of water, the penetration can easily assassinate the enemy without making a sound. When encountering a strong enemy in a head-on confrontation, with the boil style, it can also explode with amazing power and make a breakthrough head-on. It can be regarded as having a certain self-protection ability for the time being. That's right, Shiyu only thinks that he can protect himself for the time being. Shui Xuan's calculation is about to end. Shiyu watched the countdown. There were less than 3 hours left. And when the calculation of the water instant body is completed, Shiyu's next step is to continue to develop the blood succession limit. Now that Shiyu already has the 4 nature transformations of water, earth, wind, and fire, there are many more blood succession boundaries that can be developed. Among them, Shiyu's first 2 choices are ice escape and wood style. The reason why these 2 blood successor boundaries are ranked as the primary target position is simply because these 2 blood succession boundaries need to be integrated with water style. The power of water style Shiyu is now the most adept at mastering. According to the words of the great sage, if ice escape and wood style are developed, it doesn't matter which one. What Shiyu needs to do is to master the additional evasion technique, nature transformation. And reach a certain height, you can easily develop bleeding succession limit. Because Shiyu has already completed the development of blood succession boundary once, the rest will be handed over to the great sage to analyze and calculate. There is no need for Shiyu to do it himself. So now Shiyu is still a little tangled, whether to develop ice escape or wood style. Although wood style has a great reputation, but Shiyu's own water style power, how to cooperate with ice escape blood successor, will definitely be more powerful. As for wood style, if you want to exert a strong power, a huge amount of chakra is essential, and it can even be said that it has less magic power. Chakra wood style's power may be just like that. At best it is better than Yamato. And Yamato's strength, Shiyu also haha. So it needs careful consideration. Time passed little by little, and Shiyu returned to his old place to wait again. When the last few hours finally passed, calculation completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, water style, water instant technique. In an instant new ninjutsu knowledge entered Shiyu's mind. At this moment, Shiyu felt the wonder of the water's instant body. With chakra, you can turn yourself into a stream of water, not only dodging enemy attacks in an instant, but also in the blink of an eye. Condensed water in another place and turned it into his own body. This is elementalization. Shiyu opened his eyes. Raise your hand and start the seal release directly. The ninjutsu calculated by the great sage no longer needs any practice for Shiyu, as if he was born with it. Hush! In less than a second, Shiyu completed the seal, and then his body turned into a stream of water and dispersed directly. Immediately afterwards, the water flowed rapidly. In less than a second, it condensed towards another place out of thin air, and directly reformed Shiyu's body. Feel the sensation of the body changing between the flow and the solid. Shiyu felt very strange. Great sage. During the calculation process, the secret technique of hydration is discovered, and the host can further calculate the secret technique. Hydration technique. Unexpectedly, developing a water instant body can also discover secret techniques. The secret technique of the ghost lamp family, hydration technique is a good ninjutsu, but its weakness is lightning style. This technique, you can try to develop it, but if the priority is not high, you can let it go first. Compared with developing the secret technique, Shiyu now wants to try the conversion escape technique. Great sage, can you use earth style, earth substitute technique, convert chakra attributes, and calculate water style, water substitute technique? Single quote. Great sage, calculating in progress. 10%, 20%, 30%. The calculation speed is very fast, and it can be completed in 10 seconds at this speed. Calculation completed. Congratulations to host, water style, water substitute technique. Shiyu closed his eyes and experienced a new ninjutsu. This water style ninjutsu is good. The reason for getting a water substitute is because Shiyu's water style has no consumption, and other escape techniques need to consume chakra. The effect of ninjutsu is the same, so Shiyu naturally chooses water style. Since the earth substitute technique can be transformed into a water substitute technique, wouldn't it be possible to say other ninjutsu as well? Shiyu had a smile on his face. Great Sage. Start calculation. Wind style, beast wave palm transformation water style, water wave hand. 10%, 20%, ... Fire style, fire dragon technique transformed into water style, water dragon bullet technique. ... Earth style, rock transformation water style, spunlace. Water wave hand, water dragon punch, water sting. Added 3 more water style jutsu. The first Shiyu didn't expect that he would become Yamato's water wave hand after transforming the beast wave palm attribute. The water dragon bomb transformed from the fire dragon technique does not have the original version, but the effect is somewhat similar to the water dragon bomb, except that the water dragon is smaller, but the speed and impact are more terrifying and the penetration is amazing. After that, the last water thorn is a good ability to interfere or clean up miscellaneous soldiers. It's not that Shiyu loves water style. Instead, combined with breath of water swordplay, Shiyu uses water style, the most cost-effective of the many nature transformation attributes. First of all, for the skill of water breathing, Shiyu has 2 passive skill bars. There are too many improvements that can be brought. Water style, speed, reaction force, even part of physique, and swordsmanship. At the same time, it is equivalent to enhancing the capabilities of 5 aspects. And if you hang 2 of the same skills, you can get the passive enhancement of the skills to use special effects without consumption. To sum it up, there is no consumption of water style and no consumption of physical strength. Therefore, it is the most cost-effective for Shiyu to transform other ninjutsu into water style ninjutsu. Anyway, the effect of ninjutsu is almost the same, only one attribute has been changed. What is still lacking is the water body. If there is a water body and a part of the effect of shadow clone, it would be great. Great Sage. Does the host need to deduce the water body technique? Using the existing clone technique, what is the deduced water body effect? Great Sage. It is speculated that the water avatar can be released to deceive the opponent, but the avatar does not have the ability to fight. Not capable of fighting. Then what is such a doppelganger used for? Is it really just to deceive the opponent? It is not necessary to deal with miscellaneous soldiers, and it does not work against elites. This kind of ninjutsu is simply tasteless. Great Sage. If the host learns the real shadow clone technique, it can deduce a water body capable of fighting. Can't we just deduce it directly? Is this technique difficult? Single quote. Great Sage. This technique theoretically involves the distribution of chakra, including storage, use, remote control, nature transformation and other elements, and the deduction and calculation requirements are too much. If you want to deduce the estimated time for 1 month. Under the circumstances that I have mastered water style nature transformation to such an extent, how long does it take to deduce a water body? Great Sage. This technique is mainly dominated by clone technique, not water style, and the proportion of water attribute nature transformation required is very small. In other words, it is basically equivalent to letting the Great Sage deduce the shadow clone himself, and then create a water body based on the shadow clone. Basically that's what it means. Great Sage. Yes. All right, that's no wonder it took so long. The shadow clone technique belongs to the forbidden technique. The difficulty of deduction can be imagined. Instead of waiting a month, why not stalk Moonlight Gale and let him teach you the shadow clone technique? Great Sage. Possible. Have no choice. This guy knows how to be lazy now. I don't know if it is being repaired properly. If the deduction ability is complete, it shouldn't be too difficult to deduce a shadow clone technique. Great Sage. The current deduction ability has been restored to 40%, the analysis ability has been enhanced, and the Indian style scrapping function has been restored to 50%. Clam. What do you want? Are you recovering a bit? Great Sage. Yes. How long will it take to deduce the water style clone now? Great Sage. Estimated time 25 days. The good guy strengthened by 10%, shortening the calculation time by 5 days. This is progress, but not much progress. Indian style abandoned. What do you mean? Great Sage. Simply put, it allows the host to release ninjutsu directly without seals. Don't need a seal. Then this can be interesting. To release ninjutsu without seals, it requires a certain level of control over a certain technique and a high level of proficiency to be able to do it reluctantly. This function of the Great Sage is very good. But the effect is only 50%. That is to say, Great Sage sealing is still needed, but it can help the host greatly shorten the time for sealing. After the skills are fully recovered in the future, there will be no need for sealing at all. Just know it's not that simple. But shortening the printing time, this is very good. Every minute and every second in a battle is very important, even a short second can decide life or death. Shiyu didn't feel disgusted, but wanted to try this function immediately. First, calculate all the existing water styles to the most perfect skill state. Great Sage. The calculus begin. Estimated time spent 40 minutes. It only takes 40 minutes to calculate all the water styles perfectly. Then wait. 40 minutes passed quickly. After the first water style completed the calculation, Shiyu was stunned. Perfect calculation means that this is the most perfect and extreme effect that Shiyu can achieve so far. And a simple water style, Water Chaos, under the calculation of the Great Sage, in the most perfect and extreme state, the power it explodes is not like a low-level water style at all. This should be called Hayden. After all the water style calculations are completed, Shiyu feels completely evolved. All these skills have changed beyond recognition. Strictly speaking, the technique itself has not changed, but its power has undergone earth-shaking changes. Not only the power has been strengthened, but in the perfect state, when Shiyu casts these water styles, the seals required for the knot itself have been simplified. Coupled with the new ability of the Great Sage, the Indian style is abandoned. Cut it in half again. Basically, Shiyu casts a water style, and now there are at most 3 seals. At the very least, it only needs a simple seal of ending noon to cast it. Only 1 seal is needed to release ninjutsu, which is basically not much different from instant casting. How long does it take to print a Shiyu is basically a matter of 0.1 to 0.8 seconds. Look at the specific situation at the time. This little bit of time is not much different from instant. Shiyu looked ahead, and in the next second his hands simply made a seal, and in the next moment, Shiyu burst into a puddle of water. Then the water flowed rapidly, turning into water lines and shooting out towards the distance. In a moment, Shiyu's body suddenly took shape. Water style, water is instant. Single quote. This speed completely throws away the previous water instant body 2 blocks. In less than half a second, from disappearing to condensing again. It's almost over. I'm afraid Konoha will have another title of Shiyu in the future. This kind of body flicker technique, that is, Flying Thunder God, can overwhelm Shiyu. But although it was very cool, Shiyu suddenly thought of a problem. In the battle, the seal of both hands means that he cannot use sword skills. Great Sage, calculate the one-hand seal. Great Sage, calculating. Estimated time 3 hours. If there is a one-handed seal, then the combination of sword technique and ninjutsu is the complete fighting style. 3 hours of calculation time, although not too long. But Shiyu didn't wait foolishly, and had already gone home and lay down. After the calculation was completed, Shiyu simply experienced the changes of the one-handed seal. Actually nothing much has changed. It has no effect on the power of ninjutsu, the only change is that one hand can seal. If such a thing as one-handed seal is used suddenly in battle, it can catch the enemy by surprise. It is also a good skill. While waiting, Shiyu was thinking about what skills to develop next. The main conflict lies in wood style and ice escape. Which of the 2 blood successor boundaries should be developed first? Needless to say, what are the advantages of wood style? As for Shiyu's concern is that wood style is not powerful. Without mastering the celestial arts, or without the majestic vitality, the power that wood style can unleash is very limited. Yamato is the reference, although that level of wood style is pretty good. But for Shiyu, it's a bit contemptuous. At the very least, it has to be a first-generation level wood style, otherwise what's the use of a Yamato level wood style? In comparison, Bingdu is more compatible with Shiyu. After all, Shiyu can be regarded as a water style grandmaster now. If he masters the blood succession limit of ice escape, then his attack power will be further strengthened. It is even said that if the ice escape is developed, Shiyu will definitely not use the power of the ice escape like Bai. Ice is a very powerful attribute. However, Although Ice Escape can strengthen the attack power, it does not have the auxiliary ability of Wood Style. That is the self-healing ability brought by Wood Style cells, which Shiyu desperately needs. In terms of combat power, there are swordsmanship, ninjutsu, and water style without consumption. Shiyu is not lacking. Outbreak has boil style, and Raid has penetration. What's missing now are perks, perception, healing, etc. Shiyu didn't think about the perception ability for the time being, and when he thought about the acceleration, Shiyu's 5 senses became very scary. Although it cannot directly perceive chakra, it can be keenly aware of all changes around it. For the time being, you can ignore this issue. But healing is different. By the way, healing doesn't have to be done in Wood Style. Great Sage, you said before that you discovered the secret hydration technique, right? Great Sage, yes, do you want to perform a calculation? Hydration technique can't enhance Shiyu's healing ability, but it can help Shiyu immune to physical damage, and obtain a buff that can't be injured in a disguised form. Isn't the effect better than healing? Great Sage, reminder, due to the particularity of the hydration technique, once the development is completed, the host itself will be hydrated passively, which will hinder the use of the blood succession limit to a certain extent. Hydrate passively. That is to say, if you are attacked, you will automatically enter the state of hydration. There is a certain hindrance to the blood inheritance limit, so what about this? Great Sage, the host's body is automatically hydrated. If you want to activate boil style, weird power, the host itself will turn into a stream of water and be boiled by the high temperature generated by the boil style, and the host may die. Clam. Shiyu was a little speechless. This is his own technique conflicting with himself, and can he kill himself? It seems that this technique is a bit tasteless. Say it's not worth it. Its passive hydration ability is equivalent to elementalization. It is not too invincible in the world of Hokage. But it affects the use of other blood follower boundaries, which is completely not worth it for Shiyu. In the future, Shiyu will definitely master more blood inheriting boundaries, which will prevent him from using these powers, so there is no need to consider the hydration technique at all. It's a pity, I still wanted to try to develop it. After all, the power of the secret technique is not small. Great Sage, it's not impossible. The host wants to heal his own ability. The addition of hydration technique can speed up the healing effect. Are you talking about the hydration healing technique? The technique used by Suigetsu in Boruto's legend. Great Sage, yes, but you also said just now that the hydration technique prevents me from using the blood succession boundary. Great Sage, add restrictions, partial hydration. The hydration technique will only be activated under certain preconditions, and the physical state can be restored after the technique is used. In other words, turn passive hydration into active hydration. Great Sage, yes, Shiyu thought about it. If so, it doesn't seem too bad. There's no way to avoid physical attacks, but it's nice to be able to heal even if you're attacked. Wait, if you develop the healing ninjutsu according to your idea, how effective will it be? Great Sage, after adding the condition of partial hydration, the injured part of the host can be hydrated. After hydration, use chakra to replenish the state, and then return to the physical form. It is 10 to 100 times more powerful than ordinary healing ninjutsu. Can it still be like this? Transform the wounded place into water, then fill the flow with chakra, and return to the physical form. This is faster than using chakra to enhance cell regeneration. Worthy of being a great sage. Great Sage, proud face. If this technique can be successfully developed, then I should develop Ice Escape instead of Wood Style. Since he can use other methods to supplement his lack of auxiliary abilities, then the priority of Wood Style's development should be lowered. Wait until after mastering the magic to develop Wood Style. At that time, the power of Wood Style can be truly exploded. But now, the main focus is to enhance combat effectiveness. The priority of Ice Escape is naturally higher than that of Wood Style. Great Sage. Reminder, the host does not have medical healing skills, and the calculation time of the hydration healing technique will be estimated for 1 month. Does it take so long to develop a healing ninjutsu? Shiyu was speechless. Great Sage. If the host acquires the healing jutsu skill, the calculation time is estimated to only take about 3 days. All right, it seems that most of the calculation time is used to calculate healing jutsu. If you want to get the pom-pom skill, just say it. Now it is not easy to get a healing jutsu. Just go to Konoha Hospital. Thinking of this, Shiyu smiled lightly. Now that the decision has been made, the allocation of skill columns needs to be reconsidered. Passive Skill 1. Chakra Refining Technique. The increase of chakra cannot be stopped. Passive Skill 2. Basic Visual Illusion. The increase in mental power will also continue. Passive Skill 3. Advanced Physical Skills. The effect of increasing physical skills now is even greater, and Shiyu's physique also needs to be further strengthened. Passive Skill 4 to 5. Wind Style. In order to prepare for the development of Ice Escape, Wind Style's control needs to reach a certain level. Passive Skill 6 to 7. Breath of Water Swordplay. The next day. Shiyu doesn't need to go to school on weekends either. But today I got up early as usual, because although I didn't go to school today, I was going to Konoha Hospital. Relying on Tachin, it shouldn't be a problem to go to Konoha Hospital to analyze healing jutsu. Single quote. Konoha Hospital is not considered a secret place, although there are ninjas stationed just in case. But it's just a few chunin. There is no need to worry too much at all. After simply having breakfast, Shiyu went straight to Konoha Hospital. However, to Shiyu's surprise, he has not yet entered Konoha Hospital, and is on a small park bench outside the hospital. Look at Hinata, who is lying here sleeping. Although there is no school on weekends, who would go to such a place to sleep early in the morning? Shiyu felt a little strange. Hinata, Hinata. There was no response after approaching, so Shiyu could only raise his hand and pat Hinata's shoulder lightly. Soon Hinata woke up in a daze, and the first time he opened his eyes, he saw Shiyu's face was less than 20 centimeters away from him. Ah, Hinata, who stood up abruptly, bumped into him head-on. Fortunately, Shiyu quickly avoided it. Otherwise, I'm afraid my head will be red, and she is really a reckless little girl. Is the reaction so big? What's wrong with you, Hinata, sleeping in a place like this so early in the morning? No, nothing. Hinata squinted at Shiyu. His face turned red quickly. Seeing her like this, Shiyu froze for a moment. Does Hinata blush seeing herself? I didn't notice it before. But this is not the point is how this little girl is at the hospital gate so early. Why are you in such a place so early in the morning? Looking at how Hinata was sleeping soundly just now, he must have been here all night. As the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan, how could she spend the night outside? Shiyu is a little strange. Taking advantage of the opportunity, she sat down beside Hinata. You're not here all night, are you? Hinata didn't speak, just put her hands on her lap, and sat upright as if she saw the teacher in class. Seeing her appearance as an obedient girl, Shiyu felt even more helpless. Are you like a teacher? Let her dare not even speak. Don't you want to talk to me? Then I won't. No. Hinata suddenly turned to look at Shiyu, blushing even more. Then tell me, why are you in such a place so early in the morning? Hearing this, Hinata opened her mouth and replied in a low voice. I and my family had some conflicts, so I got angry and came out. I didn't know where to go when I came out, so I came here. Angry. What is Hinata betting against the family? Oh, correct. Hinata's personality is not suitable for fighting, but as the eldest lady of the Hyuga clan, how can she be like this? Hiyashi's expectation is that she can inherit the family, but obviously Hinata is not suitable. Probably this is the reason. I probably understand that what you want to do is the opposite of what your family wants you to do, right? Hearing this, Hinata froze for a moment. She felt that Shiyu seemed to know her situation very well. Could it be that Shiyu has also been following her secretly? Sure enough, Shiyu, Hinata, the rules are dead. Your character is not suitable to be a fighting ninja, but who stipulates that a ninja who doesn't like fighting can't become a strong ninja? Tsunade, one of the Sannin, isn't he like this? As a medical ninja, he is also the most powerful existence in the whole female ninja world, and his combat power is not inferior to that of Hokage. Hinata nodded heavily. That's what she thought. So, do it with confidence. Wouldn't it be good to use your strength to shut up those who question you? Shiyu turned his head and raised his hand to pat Hinata's head. I believe you can do it. Saying that, Shiyu got up, a little strange why he had to talk so much to Hinata all of a sudden. In other words, the former self probably wouldn't come here to be troublesome. Maybe it's because of the recent changes. After gaining strength, Shiyu also became much more confident. Communicating with the characters in the original work, Shiyu doesn't feel so much pressure anymore. Get up, Shiyu is ready to go. Suddenly Hinata also stood up. Shiyu-kun. Ah, Shiyu turned around. Hinata quickly lowered her head, grabbed the hem of her clothes and rubbed it desperately. 9 years ago, thank you for helping me. 9 years ago. Shiyu froze for a moment, thinking of that afternoon 9 years ago in a trance. It is also the scene in the original book where Hinata is bullied by a few little ghosts, but the little ghosts have not yet done anything to Hinata in a strict sense. At that time, Shiyu was depressed that as a time traveler, he had nothing and was very depressed. Passing by and seeing this scene, he wanted to vent his depression, so he beat up those brats without saying a word. Although they are all little ghosts, but Shiyu has the soul of an adult, even relying on a 3-year-old body is enough to deal with those little ghosts. Afterwards, Shiyu left directly, without bothering to talk to Hinata. If Hinata hadn't taken the initiative to mention it today, Shiyu would have forgotten about it. It seems that Naruto was not seen at the time. I thought Naruto also appeared later. Ah, that thing. Nothing. Shiyu waved his hand. Hinata wanted to say something else, but Shiyu had already jumped away. Seeing Shiyu's disappearing figure, Hinata froze for a moment. Shiyu-kun, now you seem to be more confident, great. Single quote. In the hospital, Shiyu swaggered in stealthily, and even hid his breath with the use of penetration, so he didn't have to worry about being discovered. Just in time, I met a medical ninja who was about to perform surgery. Then it's impossible not to apply healing jutsu. Shiyu slipped directly into the operating room, quietly waiting for the medical ninja to enter and start the operation. The operation begins. The first skill to get is not healing jutsu. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Chakra Scalpel. Acquire skills, Chakra Precision Control. Not tightly got a good ninjutsu, but also acquired more superb chakra control skills by the way. This is even better. Medical ninja surgery is not much different from normal surgery, except that it is much more convenient to have chakra. The operation was completed quickly, and the medical ninja activated healing jutsu to heal the wound directly. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, healing jutsu. Acquire chakra nature transformation yang. Correct. Healing jutsu is a product of Yangdun chakra nature transformation. Without the nature transformation of Yangdun, it is impossible to achieve the healing effect. With a smile on Shiyu's face, he can start developing the hydration healing technique right away. At the beginning, I just wanted to get a healing jutsu, but I didn't expect to have unexpected gains. Shiyu came out of Konoha Hospital and headed straight for his practice base. On the way, Shiyu looked at the chakra that was easily condensed in his hand. The chakra knife feels extremely sharp to Shiyu, and this trick is quite practical in battle. And, if you incorporate the water attribute nature transformation, I don't know what it will look like. Great Sage. The calculation time is estimated to be 5 hours. This technique requires strong chakra control. It is recommended that the host strengthen chakra control and reduce the calculation time. It only takes 5 hours to get it done, which is not bad. But let's talk about the development of the hydration treatment technique first. Shiyu removed the 2 breaths of water from the passive skill bar, as well as wind style. The 4 skill bars are directly vacated, and all of them are equipped with healing jutsu. Healing jutsu is a medical ninjutsu. In the passive skill bar, it can not only increase the power of Shiyu's healing jutsu. At the same time, the control of chakra and Yangdun nature transformation will also be enhanced. It's not just that, Shiyu's chakra control is enhanced. After developing the hydration healing technique, it can also be developed directly together with the 2 skills chakra scalpel and water style. Let the great sage first make a perfect deduction of healing jutsu. Then hang healing jutsu on the passive skill bar and run it every 30 seconds. This time is not long. 4 skill bars run healing jutsu simultaneously. In just 1 hour, Shiyu clearly felt that the power of his healing jutsu had increased tenfold. The power of Shiyu's healing jutsu was directly raised to the point that even Konoha's best medical ninja was only at the same level as Shiyu in healing jutsu. Although it is still possible to continue to improve, it is no longer necessary. Great Sage, start the skill fusion calculation for me. Great Sage, the calculus begins. Estimated time, 5 hours. After mastering healing jutsu, the Great Sage needed 3 days to calculate before, but after the power of healing jutsu is improved, the calculation time is directly shortened to 5 hours. With the passive skill bar running, the calculation time is further reduced each time the calculation is run. The original calculation time of 5 hours actually took only 1 hour in the end. Calculation completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Hydration Healing Technique. Hydration Healing Technique. It can hydrate the injured part for rapid healing, and at the same time it can hydrate the body part to heal others. The healing effect is dozens of times that of ordinary medical ninjutsu. Ninjutsu was successfully developed. The effect also satisfied Shiyu very much. But what is even more surprising is that the enhancement of healing jutsu, in fact, the more important enhancement is Yang-dun nature transformation. Yang escape is Yang escape, and Yang force is Yang force, and at the same time it is not equal to life force. Shiyu felt that Yang-dun's nature transformation was enhanced. Although the nature transformation was enhanced, it could not directly enhance his own vitality. This is not perfect, but the enhancement of vitality can be strengthened by the enhancement of physical fitness. Don't worry too much. After all, advanced physical skills can be installed on the passive skill bar anytime, anywhere. Possessing majestic vitality is only a matter of time. Ninjutsu was successfully developed and Shiyu also tested it a little bit. Use kunai to cut a hole in his arm. Then directly launch the hydration healing technique, and perform this ninjutsu without any seal at all. It can be activated directly, which should also be the effect of the Great Sage's fusion of the secret technique of hydration. Let this technique become Muji ninjutsu. Seeing that the injured part instantly turned into a stream of water, it began to flow rapidly. After a surge of water polo, when the water vapor disappeared and the arm reappeared in front of his eyes, the wound had disappeared. This healing speed is indeed astonishing. I am afraid that the effect is already close to that of Naruto, who has the self-healing ability of 9 tails. As long as this technique continues to be strengthened, its power will naturally become even more astonishing. But what Shiyu didn't expect was another thing. There is no way to achieve no consumption. I originally thought that the hydration healing technique should belong to the water style, so Shiyu, who has no consumption of the water style, can also heal without consumption. But in reality, the healing effect is provided by Yang-dun nature transformation, so this technique is not purely water style. It's just that water style accounts for more, and there is actually Yang-dun's nature transformation among them. In other words, this technique is costly. Fortunately, Shiyu's current amount of chakra, such as a few more wounds on his hands, does not consume much chakra. I am afraid that fatal injuries can also be treated 5 or 6 times. It should be no problem. And also without Shiyu restoring chakra. Although it can't be completely free of consumption, but for the water style part, no consumption is already very good. There is a way to save your life. Then it's a fusion of water style and chakra scalpel. Great Sage. The calculus begins. Estimated time 3 hours. Shiyu directly hangs the chakra shuriken on the passive skill bar. 4 healing jutsu were removed and replaced by chakra scalpel. It runs every 50 seconds, and the time for each calculation is also reduced. After nearly an hour, this technique can be regarded as completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Water Style, Lu Shui Dao. Water Style, Lu Shui Dao. The water flow condensed by the exquisite water style nature transformation, uses the terrible control power to let the water flow at high speed, and bursts out the terrifying cutting force. Can be attached to hidden weapons and weapons. It can also be attached to a hidden weapon or a weapon, and it can be used with bare hands, but it can also be used with a weapon. That's pretty cool. And this technique is also Muji ninjutsu. Shiyu directly picked up a kunai and activated the water blade, and instantly a thin layer of water covered the kunai. Although it is only a thin layer, its power is definitely not weak. It just melted slightly, and a big tree was cut neatly from it. Unfortunately, I can't fully develop the hydration technique. This technique is combined with the hydration technique, so it really turns the caster into a terrifying weapon. The body can be turned into water, and then used to perform this technique, then every part of the body is equivalent to an extremely sharp blade. I can't turn into water. But clones are fine. If it is possible to create a body of water, then it is also good to let the body of water use this technique. The water body is formed by water flow, so the body of the avatar can easily use the water blade through the body. The fighting power of that clone is terrifying. But when it comes to water body, either you can directly learn the ninjutsu of water style water body, or you can only rely on the skill of the great sage calculus. Finding a water style ninjutsu scroll by yourself is probably more difficult than asking the great sage to calculate it. And if you want to learn water body, you need shadow clone as a prerequisite. Looks like I have to go to Moonlight Gale to try. I don't know where Moonlight Gale is now. Anyway, go find it. It is not too difficult to find Moonlight Gale. Shiyu first went to Moonlight Hayate's house to look around, but there was no one, but the uncle next door said that Moonlight Hayate should be on a date. Dating. Shiyu remembered that Yugong Haifeng did have a girlfriend, but he couldn't remember the name. But if it's a date, it's so easy to find. There are only a few places in Konoha that are suitable for dating. The largest park in Konoha, it is basically a holy place for couples to date. The park is very spacious, and there is a huge lake, and the surrounding scenery is not bad. The most important thing is that there is a distance from the residential area, and no one comes to bother. There are generally no people there, after all, it is quite far from the market. Who in Konoha village will go to the park every day when they have nothing to do? Only these couples in love will come here. The park is very big, even if the lovers of Konoha come here, there is enough space to accommodate them. Ensure that every couple has enough privacy. When Shiyu entered the park, he began to search quickly. Sure enough, I found Moonlight Gale on a piece of lawn. He and his girlfriend, Azuki Shion, were spreading a cloth on the lawn, lying down and basking in the sun. A smile appeared on Shiyu's mouth. Quietly leaned over. Shi Yan, when do you think we can get married? Hearing this, the girlfriend Shi Yan who was on the side was stunned for a moment. Have you saved enough money? The two, who were discussing lifelong events, were taken aback by Shiyu's sudden appearance. Brother Gallowand, Shiyu suddenly appeared in front of Gaifeng, bent down to look at Gaifeng lying on the ground. Gale immediately sat up directly. Shiyu, what are you doing here? Shi Yan at the side was a little embarrassed. It was a little uncomfortable to be hugged by a little ghost just now. But when she heard Haifeng called Shiyu's name, Shion immediately became interested. This is the little genius you mentioned before. He looks so handsome. In the future, he will be a proper handsome guy again. Shiyu didn't expect Haifeng's girlfriend, Shion, to be so beautiful in real life, making Haifeng cheaper. Hello, my name is Azuki Shion, you are Moonlight Shiyu. I often hear Haifeng talk about you. Looking at the hand extended by the other party, Shiyu shook hands with the other party politely. Then he turned to look at the wind. Sorry to interrupt your date, but I need Brother Hayate's help with something. Haifeng feels a little strange now. Why does he seem to have a sense of sight of being caught in a relationship? Obviously the other party is just a brat. And it's not my elders or something. Why do I feel this way? It's okay. You talk to your big brother Haifeng. Shi Yan smiled. Gaifeng on the side glanced at Shiyu. What's the matter? Did you encounter any trouble? I thought Shiyu got into trouble. But Shiyu shook his head. No, Brother Haifeng, I want you to teach me the shadow clone technique. Shadow clone. Even Shi Yan was taken aback for a moment. At Shiyu's age, it seems that he hasn't graduated from ninja school yet. This is why I want to learn shadow clone, but it is normal for children to be curious about ninjutsu, but shadow clone is not a ninjutsu that can be learned indiscriminately. If you are not careful, there will be problems. Hayate shook his head without thinking. No, you are not even a ninja, I can't teach you this technique. After you successfully graduate from the ninja school and become a chunin, you can naturally learn these ninjutsu. Really? Got rejected. Just ask a question, and the other party will directly teach me without hesitation. That is impossible. But Shiyu is not helpless. Shiyu leaned against Haifeng's ear and whispered, Brother Haifeng, if you don't teach me, I will tell Sister Shion about the fact that you use the secret to peep. I'm afraid. Haifeng immediately stood up and looked at Shiyu angrily. Boy, are you threatening me? Threaten? Shion froze for a moment. Aren't they from the same family? This kid named Shiyu actually threatened Haifeng. Hail, What did he tell you? Threat, he threatened you. Hearing Xian's voice, Gaifeng smiled. No, this kid is just joking with me. Xiu smiled, looking at Gale in front of him. Haifeng is also very helpless. Shadow clone is not something you can learn if you want to, unless your talent in ninjutsu is as strong as your swordsmanship. Brother Haifeng, don't worry about this, even if you can't learn it, forget it, you just need to demonstrate it to me a few more times. So confident, Hayate found it interesting. Shi Yan at the side also looked at the two curiously. Come to Xiu's secret training base. Haifeng looked at the severely damaged forest. I remember when I came last time, there were still a few big trees here. Hearing this, Xiu smiled awkwardly. There is no way to test the power of ninjutsu, so you can't release it in the air. Okay, I'll teach you Shadow Clone. Can you learn to look at yourself? Xian was a little worried. Is it really good to teach the other party this forbidden technique before graduating from ninja school? Haifeng glanced at her and gave her a reassuring look. I won't really teach him, I just demonstrate it a few times and let him know the difficulty. Hearing this, Xian was a little relieved. Forbidden technique is no joke. Look out for Xiu. Shadow Clone Technique. Great Sage. Analyzing. Bang bang. With the appearance of Shadow Clone of Moonlight Gale, Xiu looked at the two groups of white smoke. This is the magic of ninjutsu, sometimes completely incomprehensible. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Shadow Clone Technique. Good. Shadow Clone was successfully obtained. How do you see it clearly? I'll demonstrate it again. Xiu interrupted Moonlight Gale. No need. Brother Gale, thank you. Clam, no need. What is this kid doing? Suddenly Xiu took out a bag from the back of his waist. This is for you, anyway, I don't need it now, why don't I use it for Brother Haifeng first? What? Moonlight Gale ended up with Xiu's small bag, opened it and saw that it was full of money. This is. Chapter 51. Xiu this is. Haifeng didn't understand why Xiu suddenly gave him money. Xian at the side was also stunned for a moment. There is a lot of money in this small bag, it's all big bills, the money is almost enough to buy a house. Didn't you just talk about saving money to get married? Xiu smiled. This is the inheritance left by my parents. Uncle Masano told me to use it for my marriage in the future. But I'm still young now, Brother Haifeng, you can use it first. Wait until you get married and then slowly return it to me. Hearing Xiu's words, Haifeng froze for a moment. Even Xian didn't expect that this little guy Xiu would be so generous. Thank you Xiu. Me. Haifeng didn't know what to say anymore. Seeing his shyness, Xiu waved his hands. Okay, you guys go now. I still want to continue practicing. The graduation exam is coming soon. Graduation exam. Haifeng originally wanted to say a few words and treat Xiu to a proper meal. But graduation exams are also really important. Although it shouldn't be a problem for geniuses, it still needs attention. Then after your graduation exam is over, I'll treat you to a good meal. Thank you for helping you celebrate your successful graduation and becoming a genin. Just so confident in yourself. What if I can't pass the graduation exam? This possibility does not actually exist. Xiu can already play the role of a ninja with only one hand of swordsmanship. So it is impossible to fail to graduate. But Haifeng will not tell Xiu about this in advance, lest Xiu relax himself. After all, the future of the Moonlight Clan basically depends on Xiu. After the two left, Xiu casually found a quick rock and sat down. Have obtained the Shadow Clone Technique. How long will it take to calculate the Water Body Technique? Great Sage. Estimated time is 6 hours. 6 hours. It's not bad either. However, Shadow Clone Technique can be strengthened by hanging on the passive skill bar. This should save a lot of time. Then let's get started. Xiu gave the order, and the Great Sage immediately began to calculate. And to hold on to this time, Xiu must first feel the power of Wind Style. It was Wind Style that hung up all day yesterday, and now the power of Wind Style Nature Transformation has been enhanced a lot. With the current level of Wind Style Nature Transformation, it should be possible to try to develop the blood succession limit of Bingdu. But now there is no need for Xiu to do it himself, just wait for the Great Sage to do the calculation. And compared to the Great Sage's calculation, it is dangerous for Shiyu to do it himself, and the effect is not as good as the great sage. After an hour, Shiyu made a mudra with one hand. Swish! In an instant, a stream of water emerged out of thin air, directly condensing into Shiyu's appearance. Water style. Water is divided into technique, successfully developed. And the effect of the water body calculated by the great sage combined with shadow clone is completely different. Water style. Water body. Possesses 20% of the power of the host, carries part of chakra at the same time, and can release water style ninjutsu except water style ninjutsu. This is much stronger than the original water style water avatar in the Hokage world. The original water body only has 1/10 of the power of the body, and at the same time it cannot release ninjutsu. It can only be used where there is water. But Shiyu's current water body is different. It can still be used in places without water, and there is no restriction on the control distance. Standing in front of Shiyu, the water body raised his hand and turned into a stream of water, blending into the water blade technique. The arm of the water body seemed to suddenly become a water whip. Hit the trees directly. In the next second, the trees were easily cut apart. It is as powerful as imagined, so the avatar also has combat effectiveness. Swish! The avatar jumps fast, and its speed is also very good. The feeling for Shiyu seems to be not too different from those of Chunin's body flicker technique. It's just that the pure speed burst can reach this level, which means that the combat power should be close to Jonin. I just don't know how good it is against blows. If it is easily hit, the state will be lifted. Then this avatar is a little weaker. Shiyu kicked the avatar lightly, and the avatar was knocked out immediately. Great Sage. Because the host's water style nature transformation is very powerful, the water body can withstand a considerable amount of blows, but fatal damage is still unbearable. At the same time, the water style instant body and hydration healing technique cannot be used. Seeing the clone get up again, Shiyu nodded in satisfaction. There are some limitations, but overall it's pretty good. The water body is done. Now there is shadow clone technique. Using shadow clone and adding the passive skill column should be able to improve the strength faster. Great Sage. No, the changes produced by shadow clone will not affect the host body. Won't affect yourself. Why? Is it because of the skill bar? Great Sage. Yes. All right. Although you can't use shadow clone to open and hang, it doesn't matter, there is a skill bar compared to shadow clone's cultivation effect. The skill bar is obviously more pervert. Nothing to lose either. Since it doesn't work, then the next step is to develop the ice escape. Now my wind style nature transformation should meet the requirements. Great Sage. Yes. Whether to start the calculation immediately. Let's start. Ice escape. Once it is successfully developed, its combat effectiveness will be further strengthened. Through done, boil style, and ice done, then he can be regarded as having 3 blood successor limits. Correct. What would happen if boil style and ice escape merged? Shiyu was a little curious. At this time, the great sage had no time to return to Shiyu's question, but was concentrating on calculations. The estimated time to complete the calculation is a full 30 hours. It was only 30 hours, which was not too long. Taking advantage of the calculation time, Shiyu now has to explore his own fighting style. The combination of swordsmanship and ninjutsu, so many new skills must be familiarized with. Boom! Intense roaring soon began to come from Shiyu's training place. And at the same time, in Konoha's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the list of ninja schools. These brats are graduating soon, so we need to think carefully about class placement. As he spoke, he picked up the 3 documents in front of him. Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Moonlight Shiyu. 3rd generation quietly thinking about. Looking at Naruto's information in his hand, Naruto's special identity, special ability, but strength also made 3rd generation very helpless. Obviously his parents are such excellent ninjas, but Naruto seems to have not inherited them at all. Maybe because of 9 tails. When 3rd generation was shaking his head and sighing. Suddenly 3rd generation looked towards the door and put away all the documents on the table. Then someone slowly opened the door and came in. What on earth are you thinking? The other party asked directly as soon as they came in. I am afraid that there is only one person in Konoha with this attitude who dares to speak to Sarutobi Hiruzen in this tone. What do you want to say? Third generation lowered its head and smoked a cigarette again and asked slowly. Do you need me to explain? Danzo closed the door slowly, then looked back at third generation. His eyes looked indifferent. The third generation looked up at the current Danzo. It is unknown when Danzo started to go too far. Or maybe it's because Danzo is getting older and older, so Danzo is getting more and more presumptuous. That kid, the kid from the Moonlight family, why don't you let him hand over the sword technique of breathing water to Konoha? Sure enough, it was for this. Third generation sneered, Konoha's ninja family has no obligation to hand over their secret arts to Konoha. Fart, stop pretending Hiruzen, Konoha families, which family's secret technique Konoha has no records. Now I'm making an exception for a little devil, are you so optimistic about this little devil? Watch out for another white fang. No matter what Danzo says, third generation is not making waves. Let Shiyu hand in the sword technique of breathing water, and I'm afraid it will be in Danzo's hands immediately after handing in. It's not that third generation has no way to protect these techniques, but that Danzo also has the authority to view these techniques. Not allowing Shiyu to hand it in is also to prevent Danzo from promoting this sword technique in the root organization. Shiyu's swordsmanship, third generation has seen. Once that kind of swordsmanship is mastered, the combat power will be greatly enhanced, and Chunin can even have a combat power comparable to Jonin. This kind of swordsmanship that allows people to improve their combat effectiveness across a stage, Hiruzen will not hand over to Danzo. Go back, Danzo, I won't let you get the Moonlight Clan's breath of water swordsmanship. Furthermore, this is swordsmanship, not ninjutsu. Danzo saw that Sarutobi was deliberately targeting him, and his face twisted slightly. But Danzo, who was wrapped in bandages, couldn't see most of his face. Third generation didn't see Danzo's cold expression. But that's swordsmanship that can't even be compared to ninjutsu. You don't need seals, and you can directly use the swordsmanship to display the power of chakra after nature transformation. Even those warriors from the Iron Country can't do it at all. This kind of swordsmanship is no longer just swordsmanship, Hiruzen. Even so, I don't intend to let him hand it in. Third generation still looked at Danzo calmly. Seeing his determination, Danzo smiled, you are Hokage, you have the final say. Turning away from Hokage's office, looking at him, third generation knew Danzo was not going to give up so easily. And Danzo, who left Hokage's office, looked back at the door as if he could directly see Hiruzen on the other side of the door. You are Hokage, you have the final say, but someone like you is not worthy of being Konoha's Hokage. Originally, Danzo thought that Hiruzen would adopt the sword technique created by Shiyu as he did with other Konoha families in the past. Although Konoha will not pass on swordsmanship to others, if the Moonlight Clan encounters misfortune and is completely wiped out, this swordsmanship will be passed on to a new Konoha family. In this way, it can be ensured that the various stunts of the village will not be lost. However, it is obvious that Hiruzen now has a lot of changes in his thinking, and he did not put away such powerful swordsmanship. Sarutobi, if you don't accept it, then I will do it myself. Single quote. Danzo disappears into Hokage's office. At this moment, Hiruzen took out the previously collected files again. Then look at Shiyu's profile. Boy, it seems that your talent is indeed very good. Even the old club like Danzo can't hold back because of you. Thinking of this, third generation took a look at the other two documents, and put the 3 documents aside. That old guy won't let it go, he has to find a better guy to watch over the 3 of them. Hiruzen thought of a suitable candidate. This moment, Shiyu, who had already returned home, lay down on the bed and fell asleep contentedly. Water style plus the sword technique of breathing water, the combination of ninjutsu and sword technique is even more powerful than Shiyu imagined. Even if it wasn't for the great sage who is performing ice escape right now, Shiyu would like to ask the great sage to perform a calculation immediately, whether there will be any new skills by combining ninjutsu and swordsmanship. It takes 30 hours to calculate the ice escape. From the start time, you can get your 3rd blood succession limit tomorrow morning. Now Shiyu has mastered the through done, boil style and the ice escape that is being calculated, a total of 3 blood successor limits. And after the ice escape calculation is completed, you can continue to calculate other blood succession boundaries. Reassign the passive skill bar to Passive skill 1 to 3, Chakra Refining. Passive Skill 4. Advanced Physical Skills. Passive Skill 5. Basic Visual Illusion. Passive Skill 6 to 7. Breath of Water Swordplay. Tomorrow I'm going to ninja school again. Early the next morning, Shiyu woke up and simply felt the amount of chakra increased. At the same time, because of the high-level physical skills, the enhancement of Shiyu's physique brought about by this night's time is amazing. Shiyu looked at his body in the mirror, the muscle lines became very clear now. Although he is still young, he already has a very obvious six-pack abs. The physical enhancement brought about by advanced gymnastics is really different. The effect is more than 3 times that of the previous school-level gymnastics. Come to ninja school. Shiyu had just greeted Ino when he happened to notice Hinata walking towards him. Mr. Shiyu, I wish you a smooth exam tomorrow. Hearing this, Shiyu nodded, ah. Thank you. Then I froze for a moment, the exam went well tomorrow. Exam tomorrow? What test? Shiyu, are you confident about tomorrow's exam? Suddenly, Naruto's voice sounded from the side. Shiyu turned to look at Naruto, what exam? Huh, don't you know? Graduation exam tomorrow. Graduation, exam, isn't there another week? Why is it suddenly ahead of time? Seeing Shiyu stunned, Naruto suddenly felt less nervous. He was worried at first, but when he found out that there are still people who don't even know about the exam, Naruto immediately felt a lot more relaxed. You guy doesn't even know the time of the exam, it seems you are not prepared. Ha ha ha, this way I can feel relieved. Naruto looked gloating. Shiyu rolled his eyes and looked at him. If it was Shiyu before, he would be really worried now. But today, Shiyu is not what it used to be. Is it necessary to prepare for the 3-body technique exam? And Shiyu doesn't have to worry about the amount of chakra. Although it can't be called the strongest in the ninja world, Shiyu's chakra is 7 or 8 times more than Naruto. What are you going to do? Even if I don't prepare, I'm confident that I can pass the exam. How about you, Naruto? Naruto, who was smiling, suddenly changed his face. The fact that Shiyu can say such words without changing his face, it means that Shiyu is indeed sure. Doesn't that mean you're the only one left? Naruto's complexion was a little ugly. Shikamaru on the side was lying on the table and shook his head speechlessly. These guys really forgot about the fact that this kid defeated hundreds of ninjas by himself. Could it be that if Shiyu denied it, they would really believe it? These brats are a little too naive. Shiyu-kun, it's good that you have confidence, then we will become ninjas together and do missions together. Ino looked at Shiyu expectantly. It's okay to do tasks together, but Shiyu doesn't think he will be with Ino. After all, there is no possibility of Konoha's red deer butterfly combination. As for the other characters in the original book, Shiyu doesn't think he will be assigned to be with them. After all, the Moonlight Clan is just a small family. It's simply impossible. After school, although Shiyu was a little surprised why the exam was brought forward, he didn't care too much. The mere graduation exam is not easy to grasp. And when Shiyu was about to go home and continue his cultivation, Naruto found Shiyu for the first time. After school, Naruto seldom stays with him. After all, Naruto's house and Shiyu's house happen to be one in the south and the other in the north, so they are not in the same direction at all. Anyway, Shiyu also has a family. How could he live in the small apartment of a commoner ninja like Naruto? Shiyu, I want you to help me. Clam. Shiyu looked at Naruto with a puzzled look on his face. Help you? Help you what? Naruto pulled Shiyu and walked towards a certain direction, talking while walking. Shiyu looked helplessly in the direction of his home. My home is over there. I know, I invite you to eat dinner. This made Shiyu even more surprised. Naruto's economic situation is quite bad. Would you invite yourself to dinner? Ichiraku ramen. Shiyu looked at the hot noodles in front of him, as if he had added some extra ingredients. Thank you, boss. Uncle Ichiraku nodded at Shiyu. Eat it. Naruto's guests are also our guests. Is this helping Naruto entertain himself? Uncle Ichiraku was really nice to Naruto. Naruto looked excitedly at the oversized ramen in front of him. I'm starting. It looked really good. Shiyu looked at the ramen in front of him. In the world of Hokage, there is an unwritten rule that ninjas who do not eat ramen are not strong. Only eating Ichiraku's ramen can prove that you are a real powerhouse. Strong ramen. Shiyu smiled and started to eat too. At the same time, I am more curious, what happened to Naruto today? Do you suddenly think of deepening your relationship with yourself? Usually the relationship is not bad, good friends are not considered, but they are still friends. Just tell me anything, Naruto, if I can help you, I will. Shiyu spoke softly, and Uncle Ichiraku and Miss Iris, who were pretending to be busy cooking ramen, were also listening quietly. Hearing Shiyu's words, Naruto stopped showing off the ramen, and turned to look at Shiyu gratefully. Thank you, Shiyu. The reason I asked you out today is because I'm worried about tomorrow's graduation exam. You said that you are confident to pass, and I feel it too. You seem to have changed a lot recently, and you seem to have become stronger. Having said that, Shiyu already guessed what Naruto wanted to say. We were almost the same before, but you suddenly became stronger, leaving me alone as the tail of the crane. Naruto clenched his fist lightly as he said, I want to ask you, how did you change in a short period of time? I also want to become stronger. Really? Shiyu looked at Naruto, get stronger. I don't know how to explain this to you, but, if you want to pass tomorrow's graduation exam, I can help you. The first half of the sentence made Naruto a little disappointed, thinking that Shiyu had some secret. But the latter words made Naruto smile again. Really, really. Shiyu picked up the ramen bowl in his hand, as a reward for treating me to dinner. Boss, give him another bowl, add more ingredients. Uncle Ichiraku nodded, and Shiyu quickly waved his hand. No, one bowl is enough, my appetite is not that big. As he handed a spoon to himself, Uncle Ichiraku showed his 2 rows of white teeth, then let's add some more ingredients. The noodles won't be served, this is the first time I came as an extra gift. Is it a gift? It probably wasn't because of the first time I came here. Shiyu looked at Naruto beside him, is this the protagonist's halo? Let a ramen uncle treat him unconditionally. But Naruto's childhood was indeed pitiful. Okay, let's eat. Tomorrow is the graduation exam. If you want to pass smoothly, we have to hurry up tonight. Hearing the graduation exam, Naruto immediately speeded up, and the extra-large ramen in front of him was emptied in an instant. The two came to the side of the lake in the park where there was no one. Naruto looked at Shiyu excitedly, Shiyu, what should I do? Hearing this, Shiyu glanced at Naruto. Tomorrow's graduation exam is actually just a technique selected from the 3-body technique for assessment. 3-body technique. Real. That's too bad. Transformation technique and body replacement technique are okay for me, but clone technique is just. See Naruto with a sad face. Shiyu smiled, so tonight I'm going to let your clone technique meet the requirements of the graduation exam. No, it should be said to exceed the requirements of the graduation exam. Beyond the requirements of the exam. Naruto stared blankly at Shiyu. Can it really be done? Shiyu nodded, just learn one ninjutsu. A ninjutsu, so simple. The technique I'm going to teach you next is called shadow clone technique. Speaking of shadow clone technique, what Naruto learned in the original book is the multiple shadow clone technique. In fact, the only difference between multiple shadow clone and shadow clone technique is the number. More quantity means multiple shadow clone, less means shadow clone technique. Shiyu's water bodies can also be called multiple water bodies technique. The way of sealing, you understand. The specific flow of chakra has also been told to you. By the way, Naruto, remember one thing, when you perform this technique, create as many clones as possible. Shiyu exhorted. Naruto in front of him listened excitedly. Naruto has poor control over chakra because of 9 tails. Because of the trouble of 9 tails chakra, in other words, there is no way to do fine operation, but if it is not fine operation, there is no problem. Do as Shiyu just said, a rough multiple shadow clone technique is cast, it may be fatal to ordinary people. After all, there is not such a horrible amount of chakra to squander. But Naruto is different. Naruto's chakra can be used at will, and he has the same vitality as Xiaoqiang. Nothing to worry about. Then I'm coming. Multiple shadow clone technique. Boom. Accompanied by Naruto's voice, the dense white smoke around the lake exploded in an instant. The first time I cast multiple shadow clone techniques, nearly 1,000 clones were directly separated. Naruto stared at the clones that were exactly the same as himself, and was stunned. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. It took more than 10 seconds for Naruto to come back to his senses, looking at Shiyu with joy and gratitude. Shiyu, thank you so much, your technique is too strong. With this technique, you won't have any problems in your graduation exam tomorrow. Shiyu said indifferently. Naruto released the clone. Ecstasy rushed directly to Shiyu and hugged Shiyu. Thank you so much, Shiyu. Didn't you treat me to ramen too? This is a gift in return. Shiyu, I can treat you to dinner tomorrow. When he said this, Naruto seemed to remember that his wallet was not full, and this month's normal living expenses might not enough. Shiyu smiled. There's no need for ramen. The exam is over tomorrow. I want to clean up the house. I'm too busy to do it by myself. Can you help me? Certainly, Naruto agreed without hesitation. Shiyu nodded. It seems that when I go back tonight, I have to make the house a little dirty. Single quote. While the two were talking, suddenly Shiyu frowned slightly. In the next second, a black shadow mountain appeared in front of Shiyu. Blinking body technique. So fast. Single quote. Shiyu's immediate instinctive reaction was to back away. Facing the sudden thing, Shiyu didn't have time to think about it. Take a step back and open the distance just to avoid the kunai from the enemy. Shiyu opened a distance of 5 or 6 meters, stopped and raised his head, then remembered Naruto. At this moment, Naruto has been directly knocked out by the opponent, and the body flicker technique broke out again. This guy just disappeared. Who is this guy in black clothes, black pants, and a black scarf? For 9 tails Jinchuriki. Are you kidding me? This is Konoha, there is no such passage in the original book. Who wants to steal Naruto? Shiyu didn't have time to think too much. Instant body technique is not only the other party will. Water style, water instantly. Single quote. With one hand in the mudra with his right hand, Shiyu disappeared instantly and his body turned into countless waterlines, soaring into the sky and rolling in the air. Swept straight in the direction of that guy. In the next second, the figure recondensed on the house, and the guy who kidnapped Naruto looked back at Shiyu in surprise. It seems that he didn't expect that Shiyu would also be able to blink, and it was a blink of an eye. Continue to use the body flicker technique. This guy is very fast, and he went straight to Konoha in a row. Let me put him down. Shiyu once again turned into a waterline and chased towards the opponent. The water swept across the roof and flickered a few times, and he was already approaching the opponent quickly. Shiyu's instant body is much faster than this guy. Bang bang. He almost caught up with the opponent, but Shiyu was interrupted for a moment. The figure recondensed, and Shiyu looked back at the other 2 ninjas behind him. The roof is surrounded by shurikens. It was these 2 guys who stopped themselves with shuriken just now, otherwise that guy would have been caught up by Shiyu. Who are they? Dare to come to Konoha to snatch 9 tails, isn't that courting death? Strange, no Anbu's ninjas nearby. The 2 walked towards Shiyu holding kunai in their hands. Zangetsu. Shiyu didn't bring it with him. After all, what did he bring Zangetsu to the ninja school today? Also take out kunai from the ninja bag, and activate water style, Lu Shui Dao. A faint stream of water flows around kunai's blade. Watching Shiyu's technique, the 2 glanced at each other. Accelerated directly and rushed towards Shiyu one after the other. When one of them rushed in front of Shiyu first and stabbed straight at Shiyu's neck with kunai, the kunai in Shiyu's hand instantly cut off the other party's kunai. Simultaneously seal with one hand. Water style, water is instant. Single quote. Turned into a stream of water and dissipated directly in place. Shiyu is gone, the breath is gone, and the figure is gone. The 2 froze for a moment and looked around. And the next second, the neck of the guy behind was torn apart in an instant, and a lot of blood splashed out in an instant. And this guy who looked back at his companion being attacked in an instant, his eyes flashed with horror. And at this moment, a terrifying cold also descended on him. Shiyu's figure slowly emerged from behind him, and the flowing water blade kunai in his hand also pierced his throat. The night is my stage. Single quote. Fight yourself at night. Court death. The moment the water was activated instantly, Shiyu directly activated the penetration. Turning into a stream of water is like disappearing. In fact, Shiyu has come behind another person. In just 2 seconds, the 2 were easily resolved. Before he had time to take a closer look at the background of the two, Shiyu looked back at the guy who had taken Naruto away. Want to run? Is it possible? Single quote. And when Shiyu was about to continue the pursuit, he suddenly saw a ninja coming quickly from another direction. Wear a mask. Be Anbu's ninja. Then the two people here don't need Shiyu to take care of them, and Anbu's people will take over. Seal. Water style. Water instantly. The Anbu ninja who rushed over hadn't seen the person in the distance clearly, but suddenly saw the person turning into countless water lines, and rushed towards Konoha in an instant. In the blink of an eye, it spans a distance of 100 meters. What is that? When a team of Anbu ninjas rushed to the rooftop where Shiyu was fighting. Looking at the two ninjas whose throats were cut in an instant and died. Even Anbu's ninja couldn't help but marvel. What a terrifying skill. Seal the throat vigorously, without any unnecessary movements. Who was that guy just now? Captain Anbu stepped forward to check the two people on the ground. Remove the masks on the two of them, it's not our Konoha ninja. These two guys are ninjas from other villages. It's not the ninja of this village, so the person who killed the two people just now should be the ninja of Konoha. It can't be people from other villages. Notify Master Hokage. Send these two corpses back, and the others will continue to chase after me. Chase somewhere. That guy seems to have rushed out of Konoha just now. At that moment, the opponent's body turned into countless streams of water and went straight to the outside of Konoha. Being able to turn oneself into a stream of water, let alone which village this kind of escapism belongs to. Mastering escapism to such an extent, his attainments above water style are extraordinary, and his strength is probably close to cage level. Although the opponent may be a big shot close to cage level, the ninja who is Anbu will not back down. The pair of Anbu ninjas were quickly divided into two groups. One group defended the entity and notified Hokage at the same time, while the other group continued to pursue. At this moment, Shiyu had already rushed out of Konoha. Instead of using water to blink, I chose to use the basic body flicker technique, combined with two done to move forward silently. Turn on thinking acceleration. Single quote. Great sage. Thinking acceleration enabled. For a moment, Shiyu directly caught the trace left by that guy just now. Continue to chase along the traces left by the opponent. The general body flicker technique, although Shiyu is not bad, but the speed is not as fast as the water instant body. After flying for more than 10 minutes, he gradually narrowed the distance to the opponent to within 100 meters. This is still under the condition of accelerated thinking. Shiyu was able to catch the faint trace left by the other party in a flash through the dark forest. Arriving in a dark forest, Shiyu felt the opponent's speed slow down and froze. Take the opportunity to approach the past quietly. Hiding behind a big tree, Shiyu secretly watched ahead. Naruto, not being resisted by the opponent, gone. Why did Naruto suddenly disappear? Where is this guy hiding Naruto? It is impossible to chase after Konoha by himself, and the other party has no time to rest, so how could it be possible to hide Naruto? Didn't that guy catch up? The other party frowned and said in a low voice. Originally, Shiyu thought that the other party was thundering and stopped for a while, but now it seems that the other party is deliberately waiting for him to catch up. What is his purpose? Why do you have to stop and wait on purpose, holding the kunai in your hands tightly? Shiyu's eyes locked on the opponent's body. Through Dun is still activated. In this state, Shiyu cannot perform ninjutsu, but swordsmanship can be performed. Approaching cautiously, Shiyu wanted to grab him. Otherwise, there is no way of knowing where Naruto is. Coming to the back of the opponent, Shiyu aimed at the guy's vest, and kunai stabbed fiercely. One hit, but at the moment of hit, Shiyu felt something was wrong. It doesn't feel right. This is not the feeling of stabbing people, but the feeling of stabbing wood. Body replacement technique. Boom. White smoke exploded, and a piece of wood fell to the ground. Shiyu also backed away at the same time. Several consecutive shurikens were nailed in front of Shiyu in a row. Fortunately, the instant he retreated, he would have been injured by this guy. What a scary kid. Is this Totten? It actually has the blood succession limit of penetration. The moonlight is the same as the moonlight blast. The other party seemed to be surprised by Shiyu's penetration, and couldn't help being surprised. And Shiyu also locked on the other party's figure at the first time by virtue of his voice. Direct water instant body. The water flow that appeared out of thin air condensed directly in front of the opponent, and at the same time Shiu's body spun at a high speed, and the kunai in his hand ruthlessly swiped towards the opponent's chest. The opponent reacted very quickly, and directly tried to block Shiu's attack with kunai. But Shiu's blue ray of light made the other party stunned for a moment. Immediately afterwards, the bitterness in his hand was divided into two, and the clothes on his chest were also torn to reveal a long bloody mouth, and the blood spurted out instantly. Shiu stepped back and grabbed kunai with his backhand. "Who are you? Where did you hide Naruto?" Facing Shiu's question, he seemed even more surprised that he was injured. Seeing that it was kunai in Shiu's hand, "Did you perform some kind of ninjutsu? I didn't expect you to be such a grandmaster water style, but we underestimated you." "Us. This guy has other companions." Swish swish swish. The guy threw a series of hidden weapons at Shiu. Shiu looked at the hidden weapon that was attacking, and put his left hand directly into the ninja bag, and in the next second his left hand turned into countless afterimages. Hidden weapons were thrown out one by Shiu, knocking down all the hidden weapons of this guy. Sparks burst out from the collision of the hidden weapons, which made the other party stunned. Water style. Water chaos. Boom. The moment Shiu threw out the concealed weapon with his left hand, he immediately formed a seal. A simple mark of noon, and then a terrifying stream of water gushed out directly from Shiu's feet. Swept straight towards the opponent. Seeing the sudden spread of water waves with a width of 20 to 30 meters, this guy was also dumbfounded. Where there is no water, this brat actually uses such a terrifying water style. Single quote. Is this really a kid who hasn't graduated from ninja school? Single quote. It is simply a monster among monsters. Boom. Accompanied by the roaring running water, the opponent was swept by the current. Shiu seized this opportunity and directly cast water instant again, and Vice Admiral was caught by the opponent directly under the passionate flowing water. Jumped to a branch that was not submerged by the current. The kunai in his hand pressed against the opponent's neck. "Where is Naruto? Who are you?" The guy who was caught suddenly smiled. "What a scary brat. It turns out that you are not close, not only for your amazing sword skills, but also for your ninjutsu. This time it was our wrong judgment. But kid, you've been targeted, it's useless to defeat us, you still won't be able to escape in the end." Phew, this guy committed suicide. Suicide without hesitation. What is the origin of this guy? And where was Naruto taken by them? Can't you hand over Naruto and die? No, no matter what the reason, you must never give up Naruto. Shiu raised his hand. Water bodies appeared one after another. "Find it for me. It should be nearby." From Shiu being dragged by two enemies, to chasing him out and approaching cautiously through penetration. After leaving Konoha, Shiu turned on the acceleration of thinking. Shiu didn't miss any trace along the way. At the same time, it is true that there is no chance that the other party has Tibetans, and it is also certain that no second person will come into contact with the other party. With the power of observation accelerated by thinking, it is impossible to miss any details. However, how could a man as big as Naruto suddenly disappear? After searching around for a long time, Shiu directly dispatched more than 20 clones. Basically the entire forest was turned upside down by Shiu. But still nothing was found. Naruto really disappeared out of thin air. Space-time ninjutsu. If it is really such a ninjutsu, then why run out of Konoha? After capturing Naruto back then, wouldn't it be good to just disappear? And I don't know space-time ninjutsu, and I definitely can't catch up with 553 opponents. Shiu didn't believe in evil, and searched for a full half an hour, from the forest to the outside of the Konoha, using his avatar to search all over. Shiu has searched every possible corner. There is still no trace of Naruto, and there are no scrolls or anything like that on the ninja. A big living person disappeared out of thin air. If it's not a space-time type of ninjutsu, or something like a special seal scroll, then the only possibility left is Naruto is still in Konoha. Shiu started thinking acceleration when he left Konoha. The only thing he might not have noticed was when he was in Konoha. Shiu hurried back to Konoha, and relied on the escape to avoid the Anbu ninja who came to look for him. When Shiu just returned to Konoha, he suddenly found a team of Anbu's ninjas by the roadside. Why did that demon fox kid suddenly faint here? Master Hokage said let's send him back and forget about it. Naruto is really in Konoha. Shiyu, who was hiding in a dark corner, was puzzled. Catch Naruto, then throw Naruto aside. What is this operation? If Naruto is irrelevant to those three guys, then, that is to say, these three people are here for themselves. Danzo hiding in the root organization rat hole at the moment. With his back to a rooted ninja. Master Danzo, the operation failed, and all three were killed. Oh, Danzo froze for a moment. Kill my three root ninjas, they are all at the level of Chunin, and they are all elites. How could a kid who hadn't graduated from ninja school possess such fighting power? Master Danzo, the bodies of two of them were found by Anbu, and the body of the remaining one was not found. According to the inspection of Anbu's ninja, both of them were blocked in an instant. Moment. Shut the throat. Danzo's closed eyes suddenly opened. This is impossible, a brat with slightly superior swordsmanship talent. How could it be possible to have this kind of strength? Although Anbu is from Sarutobi and Danzo looks down on him a bit, the investigation of these Anbu ninjas will not make too many mistakes. I underestimated that brat. The ninja of Anbu witnessed the moonlight Shiyu directly and instantly turned into countless streams of water, bursting out of Konoha at an astonishing speed. The remaining one was probably caught up by Konoha, and then killed by Moonlight Shiyu. That's for sure, but it turned into countless streams in an instant. Instant body, or water style's instant body. This is interesting. How a kid who hasn't graduated from ninja school mastered the water style body flicker technique. Danzo is no stranger to this technique. His old friend, Hanzo of the Salamander, also uses it. And to master this kind of escapism, you must first have an incredible talent for water style to be able to master this type of escapism. Moonlight Shiyu, that brat can do it. It doesn't matter where he learned it from, what matters is that he has such a talent at this age. Hiruzen, it seems that our boy with amazing talent in swordsmanship is not just good at swordsmanship. Still a water style genius. Now Danzo is very surprised, but also feels more excited. I didn't expect Konoha to suddenly emerge such a genius. At the moment, Hiruzen, who was being talked about by him, was still in Hokage's office looking at the report in his hand, and also frowned. The man in black who was killed instantly, Naruto who passed out, and the ninja who disappeared in an instant. Hiruzen had a headache. The two dead people were found to be 80% rooted ninjas. But it's not a recorded ninja, the root ninja raised by Danzo in private. But why is Naruto comatose? Who is the ninja who disappeared in an instant? What is this guy Danzo doing? Who was the root ninja sent to kill? I want to ask Danzo to clarify, but since Danzo chooses to do it directly, he obviously doesn't intend to consider his own opinion. Ask Danzo, that guy will most likely not tell himself. It's getting too much. Danzo, whoever he is dealing with in the village, doesn't take himself seriously. It even seems to involve Naruto this time. Maybe Naruto bumped into something so he was knocked out and left aside. After Naruto wakes up, Hiruzen will ask himself. On the other side, Anbu's ninja sent Naruto back, and Shiyu returned to his home quietly. The target is not Naruto. Be yourself. When Konoha started, and when the incident happened, the surrounding Anbu ninjas seemed to be quite far away. Anbu's ninjas are all over Konoha, and it is impossible for a certain area to suddenly have fewer people. It's obvious. Apart from Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage Lord, the only one who has the ability to influence the Anbu ninja is Danzo in Konoha. Shiyu didn't expect that he was so mediocre. The only time he performed was to display the sword technique of breathing water on the training ground. Is this being tracked? I lured myself out of Konoha because I was afraid that the movement would be too loud. They want to capture themselves alive. If he is not captured alive or assassinated, there is no need to lead him outside Konoha. The assassination will not make much noise. Capture yourself alive. Swordsmanship for water breathing. It seems that this is the only reason. I want to learn the practice method of water breathing from my own mouth. Danzo, do you care so much about a little swordsmanship? You think highly of me too. But maybe Danzo didn't take it too seriously, otherwise he wouldn't just send 3 rude ninjas who weren't even Jonin to deal with him. Obviously, he didn't take himself seriously, thinking that those 3 people were enough to take him down. But whether or not Danzo took it seriously before, it's different now. Next time if Danzo makes another shot, it won't be 3 Chunin level guys. Shiyu lifted the curtains and peeked out the window secretly. The number of ninjas in Anbu has increased a bit. Danzo probably won't take a shot tonight, or he won't take a shot anytime soon. Konoha still has the final say on Hiruzen, and Danzo will anger Hiruzen if he does this. Shiyu lowered the curtains and lay down on the bed. I can be targeted even if I don't show off. It seems that I can't keep a low profile if I want to keep a low profile in the future. Since you can't be low-key, let's be a little high-key. And carrying the title of genius is not without its benefits. He glanced at the great sage who was still calculating in the system. There are still 10 hours left. After tomorrow's graduation exam, the waterway calculation will be completed. Ice Dun cooperates with water style, and his combat power will be further strengthened. In short, his strength will be improved, whether it is Danzo or Akatsuki. If you have strength, don't be afraid. Shiyu, who came to the ninja school the next day, took the ninja sword Zagetsu for the first time. The previous Shiyu were all without weapons. Shikamaru and others looked at Shiyu ninja knife behind him. Shikamaru smiled secretly, staring at Shiyu. This guy is finally planning to use the terrifying knife technique. While chatting with everyone, Naruto finally came to the school, but he looked depressed. He saw that Shiyu wanted to come over as soon as possible. But this time Ruka walked in. Okay, everyone, go back and sit down. The graduation exam is advanced to test your true level. The next step is the most important step in your ninja career. After passing the exam, you can become an official ninja. On the contrary, you need to go to an ordinary school to continue learning other skills besides ninja. I hope you all work hard. The exam begins, although it is said to be a ninja's graduation exam. But in fact, it seems that there is no difference from the usual test. Checked everyone's hidden weapon throwing, and then tested the clone technique. A group of little ghosts lined up at the door, and one after another walked into the examination room to conduct individual tests. Seeing a kid in front of him come out dejectedly, Shiyu slowly pushed the door forward and walked in. Uruka looked up at Shiyu. Shiyu, you seem to have changed a lot recently. I've heard about the training ground too, teacher. How is it? Are you confident in today's exam? Judging from Shiyu's usual grades and performance, it is not easy to pass the exam. Shiyu nodded very easily. Okay then, let's go. Show off your clone technique. As soon as Uruka finished speaking, Shiyu raised his left hand to make a simple seal of the child. Boom! A clone appeared beside him. Clone technique is nothing special, but Uruka looked at Shiyu with wide eyes in surprise at the moment. Just now, if he read it right, Shiyu only used one hand to make the seal. One-handed printing. Moonlight Shiyu still has this talent. One-handed seal is not something that can be mastered through practice, it is a kind of innate ability, just like Shueiji, it is born with it. If not, it is impossible to master it in a lifetime. Teacher, is it all right? Hearing Shiyu's voice, Uruka recovered from his daze. Looking at Shiyu in surprise, he nodded, okay. Shiyu went out. Looking at Shiyu's back, Uruka suddenly felt that his teacher seemed a little unqualified. It's been so long that he didn't know that some of his students had such a talent. The graduation exam ended in the morning. When school was over in the afternoon, the results of the exam finally came out. Naruto came to Shiyu with his forehead protector. Thank you, Shiyu, if you hadn't helped me with the special training yesterday, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to pass the graduation exam today. It's nothing, didn't you invite me to eat ramen too? Naruto smiled, and hooked Shiyu's shoulder with one hand. I'll treat you to Uncle Ichiraku's ramen after I get the task reward. Seeing Naruto and Shiyu's arms crossed, Sasuke walked past them with a cold snort. Shiyu smiled. Is Urzuzi jealous? After finishing the exam, Naruto also came to Shiyu's house as promised to help Shiyu with the so-called cleaning. After the end, Shiyu asked Naruto to go back to rest early. And Shiyu himself is going to prepare for the new blood successor boundary ice escape. Now that Naruto has successfully completed the graduation exam, the plot of stealing the sealed book in the original book should not appear. But it's a pity to think about it now. If Naruto can still steal the sealed book, then Shiyu may have a chance to take a look. But thinking about it, it shouldn't be possible. It's just a trick set up by third generation. If I really do it, The consequences can be a bit serious. In Hokage's office right now. Third generation looks at Iruka. Really? Iruka nodded. Yes, I saw it with my own eyes, it can't be wrong. The third generation in front of him picked up Shiu's information in his hand. This kid actually has the talent to make seals with one hand. This is indeed surprising. Call Naruto for me. Third generation put down the information in his hands, and Iruka didn't continue to ask any questions. Naruto came after a while. Naruto enters third generation's office. What's the matter? Grandpa third generation, do I have a task for me so soon? Just graduated today. Naruto is in a pretty good mood. Third generation smiled. Congratulations, Naruto graduated successfully. Hey, by the way, Grandpa asked you something. You were unconscious yesterday. Do you know what happened? Naruto was stunned for a moment. That's right. I wanted to ask Shiu today. Why did I fall into a coma yesterday? I was busy with the exam and forgot to ask him. Shiu. You were with Shiu yesterday. That's right. Shiu taught me the shadow clone technique. Thanks to him, I was able to graduate today. Naruto kept talking, but third generation stopped listening. Instead, his eyes flickered slightly. Danzo's target yesterday was Shiu, and those ninjas were aiming at Shiu. 2 of them were instantly killed by Shiu. That was the elite Chunin combat force, and traces of fighting were also found in a forest outside the village. And Anbu's ninja reported that there were traces of water style used, and it is speculated that it should be A-level water style ninjutsu. Unleashing water style ninjutsu in places without water, breaking down several giant trees directly, this is not something ordinary ninjas can do. Moonlight Shiu. Water style. That's right, the combination of water style and swordsmanship. If you don't have a certain degree of mastery of water style, it is impossible to create that kind of sword hate. This kid is not just talented in swordsmanship. Third generation glanced at Naruto, who was still excited. Okay Naruto, you go down first. Grandpa has something to do. Naruto was working hard. He was learning Shadow Clone for the first time yesterday, and he was able to master it smoothly. However, seeing that third generation didn't seem to be very interested, Naruto also felt a little bored. After making a grimace, he left without looking back. Third generation recalled the 2 corpses it saw last night. Judging from the cuts on the necks, the weapons used were very sharp. But judging from the width of the incision, it doesn't seem like it was caused by a ninja knife. How did Shiu do it? At this moment, Shiu has come outside Konoha. With the previous lessons learned, Shiu left Konoha this time and used transmitting, completely concealing his body shape and aura. Then quickly leave Konoha. When I came outside the village, I didn't go to the place before. Instead, I found a waterfall again. Seeing the rushing water in front of him, Shiu jumped directly onto the boulder in the middle of the river. You can rest assured now. Great Sage, how is the calculation? Great Sage. Calculus countdown 2 minutes. With the last 2 minutes left, Bingdun is about to complete the calculation. Shiu couldn't help rubbing his hands together, although it wasn't the first time he had obtained the blood successor limit, but Shiu still looked forward to the ice escape. The power of ice should never be underestimated. Even in Shiu's opinion, the Ice Emperor is not weaker than wood style. Calculation completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Ice Escape. For a moment Shiu suddenly closed his eyes. From the deepest part of the body, there seemed to be a sudden chill. The cold air flowed through his whole body. But this cold air didn't make Shiu feel uncomfortable at all, just like being in the scorching sun. Suddenly jumped into the clear spring, the cool and refreshing feeling is very comfortable. When Shiu adapted to and controlled the ice escape chakra in his body, white mist began to emerge around Shiu's body. The pervasive cold air spread, forming a layer of frost on the surface of the boulder. Opening his eyes, Shiu lowered his head and opened his hands. Looking at the palm of the hand, snowflakes floated up one after another, accompanied by a piece of ice crystal slowly rotating. Is this the power of ice escape? This feeling is very strange. Shiu slowly pressed his hand on the boulder, and then crazily broke out the ice escaped chakra. The cold air spreads. The boulder is frozen, and a thick layer of solid ice visible to the naked eye condenses and spreads rapidly. In a short time, most of the river was completely frozen. Under the scorching sun, the ice cubes that were frozen did not show any signs of melting. The power of ice escape is more powerful than Shiyu imagined. This is just a rough use of the ice escape chakra, and it is not used by ninjutsu. With ice escape, it is natural to have some supporting ninjutsu. This ability to freeze the surroundings can develop a special ninjutsu. Great Sage, can you do calculations? Great Sage, calculating. Calculating. 1%, 2%. The growth rate is a bit slow, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't take a few minutes. Great Sage, completion of calculations. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Ice Escape, Frozen Moment. Shiyu felt the new ninjutsu in his mind. How to say this technique? The name sounds good, but the effect is just. Ice Escape, Freezing Moment. The surrounding air temperature will drop rapidly, and everything within the affected area will start to freeze quickly. No wonder the Great Sage's calculation went so smoothly. Isn't this just an upgraded version of the rough usage of Ice Escape chakra? At most, it was optimized by the Great Sage. Shiyu felt helpless. Raise your hand to seal the mudra, ready to see how the actual effect will be. In the next second, strong chakra fluctuations erupted. Keep this seal and look around. With Shiyu as the center, everything within 10 meters began to condense frost rapidly. As time passed, it took more than 10 seconds to achieve the effect of freezing. This technique, it feels like some rubbish. Within 10 seconds, with a range of 10 meters, as long as you are not an idiot, you will know to stay away from Shiyu. Even at the speed of ordinary people, the time of more than 10 seconds has already gone out of the range. Could it be that Shiyu is required to run with the enemy while performing this technique? Even if you can kill the enemy, this way of killing the enemy is too cheap. Forget it, the Great Sage uses water-style ninjutsu to transform Ice Escape ninjutsu. Great Sage. In calculus. Water-style, water turbulence transforms into Ice Escape. Transformation failed. Conversion failed. Shiyu froze for a moment. Can the transformation fail? Water-style, water dragon bomb technique. Transformation failed. Water-style, water body technique. Transformation failed. Great Sage. Report single attribute ninjutsu, transformed into blood successful ninjutsu, lack of information, unable to complete the transformation. Therefore, it is impossible to transform water style into Ice Escape. Right, Ice Escape is a fusion of two chakra attributes, and the ninjutsu conversion between a single attribute is naturally different. If you can't directly convert ninjutsu, doesn't it mean that I need to develop it myself? Great Sage. Yes. But the ninjutsu developed by myself was also developed by the Great Sage just now, but its power is really. When Shiyu smiled helplessly, he suddenly froze for a moment. By the way, you can use the skill bar to slowly increase the power of your skills. Turning his head to look at the skill he just developed, Ice Escape, Frozen Moment. Although the effect of the skill doesn't look very good, if it keeps hanging on the skill bar, it will continuously increase its power. That would be different. As the power continued to increase, the affirmation of Wang Li's returned to such an exaggerated level that Shiyu only needed one seal. Then in an instant, within a radius of 100 meters, or even a kilometer, will be directly shrouded in the wind and snow all over the sky. Thinking of this, Shiyu immediately felt a little interesting. If you develop it yourself, you can develop it yourself. Although the initial power of the developed ninjutsu may not be very good, there is a passive skill column to continuously enhance the power of the skill. No matter how rubbish the Ice Escape ninjutsu is, it will become infinitely terrifying in his own hands. At the same time, I really can't figure out the tricks of being done, and I can also refer to characters with similar abilities in other worlds, Li. This is not any difficulty for Shiyu. Furthermore, when it comes to imagination, there is probably no one in the entire ninja world who can compare to me. Development. Not difficult. Looking at the condensed frost around him, the corners of Shiyu's mouth rose slightly. He thinks he might have a good idea already. Shiyu raised his hands and looked at the cold air rising in his palms. Ice Escape. It should not be just fighting with ice, but more importantly, it should be the terrible low temperature. Temperature. It is the most terrifying power of Ice Escape. Great Sage. The reason why water style can't transform Ice Escape. Is there any other reason besides chakra? Great Sage. The water flow is polygonal, there is no fixed shape, water style can be converted to ice escape, and the solid body cannot be like a liquid. So it means that the form of water is not suitable for ice. And what about earth style? Great Sage. Chakra has different attributes and different operating principles. One is different inside, and the other is different outside. Shiyu nodded, and it was almost the same as what he thought. Although ice escape seems to be more compatible with water style, but in fact, the main power should belong to wind style. Shiyu smiled. Chill, this is the real power of Ice Dungeon. Well, Shiyu has a good idea. Great Sage, try to calculate, if you use the ice escape to freeze water, condense it into ice and snow, and use the low temperature of ice and snow to create an effective attack. In the state of ice and snow, can it be successful to transform water style and so on? Great Sage. Analyzing. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Analysis, not calculus. It seems that analyzing this skill is not just analyzing ninjutsu, even the theory of ninjutsu can also be analyzed. That's good, use the analysis ability to analyze your own ninjutsu theory, then you can better develop new ninjutsu. Analysis completed. Great Sage. Transformation is possible. Sure enough, in the ice state of Ice Done, it is really impossible to perform flexible and changeable ninjutsu attacks. After all, ice is solid, shouldn't the common method be to smash the enemy, or is it better to hit the enemy? The white in the original book just condenses water into ice like 1,000 books, which are used to attack the enemy. It can be seen that the frozen and condensed ice cubes are actually of little development value. Chill, it is the real main power of ice escape. Now that the main development direction has been found, all that remains is to develop a perfect ninjutsu. It is best to integrate offense and defense, and even be flexible. Otherwise, it takes a few hours for a ninjutsu to develop and calculate, and a few hours for a ninjutsu. Ice escape Shiyu alone will take a lot of time. Attack and defense in one. Speaking of this question, Shiyu suddenly thought of someone. Gaara. The sand controlled by Gaara is very convenient for attack and defense, and the method of using sand to cause damage to the enemy is also very simple. Squeeze. Penetrate. Both. Magnet style is a certain kind of magnetic force that is controlled. The sand attracts each other, and the stronger the magnetic force, the stronger the extrusion force. Penetration is to strengthen the sand and turn it into a sharp weapon like a hidden weapon, killing the enemy in the simplest and most direct way. So what if the sand is replaced by ice and snow? Ice can also be very sharp, and there is no problem with ice and snow condensing into ice arrows, ice knives, ice shurikens, etc. Sand can be squeezed, and ice and snow can explode cold. Once it touches Shiyu's ice and snow, it will be invaded by cold air, and once the body tissue encounters low temperature. The speed of cell necrosis is not at all slower than being burned by fire. And if chakra is strengthened, then the temperature can become lower. Tens of degrees below zero is already terrifying, but if it is -1 or 200 degrees, the power of the cold air will be even more terrifying. Absolute zero is only -273 C. Great Sage, with my thoughts just now, can you calculate a new ninjutsu? Great Sage. Analyzing. Analysis progress. 10%, 20%. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Analysis completed. Great Sage. Can calculate. Then let's start the calculation. I want to control the power of ice and snow. Calculation begins. Estimated time 12 hours. 12 hours. It's not CB too slow, but Shiyu can speed it up a little. 7 passive skill bars. Passive skills column 1 to 3 are Chakra Refinement, Advanced Physical Skills, Basic Visual Illusion. Passive skills column 4 to 5 are all water breathing. As for the remaining passive skill columns 6 to 7, now all of them are equipped with Ice Escape, Freezing Moment. Skill is running. Shiyu waited silently. To Shiyu's surprise, the running time of Ice Escape, Frozen Moment is actually a bit long. It took a full 3 minutes to complete the run. Once every 3 minutes, 20 times an hour, this progress is a bit slow. However, if 2 skill bars are installed at the same time, then it can be operated 40 times in an hour. At the same time, while running, each Ice Escape and Freezing Moment can be enhanced. The enhancement of Ice Escape can reduce the calculation time of the Great Sage. Needless to say, the enhancement of the Freezing Moment technique. This technique will become stronger and stronger. The only thing to worry about is the consumption of chakra, which will gradually increase. But this problem is not without a solution, because it can't hang 2 ice dungeons in the skill column. In this way, using ice escape is in a state of no consumption. No matter how much chakra is consumed, there is no need to worry. During the system calculation process, Shiyu also has something to do, and can update the skill status. Let the skill state of ice escape, frozen moment become more and more perfect. As Shiyu began to perform ice escape, freezing moment, everything within the range of Shungmi was constantly freezing. As time goes by, snowflakes slowly fall down. And with the continuous operation of the freezing moment in the skill bar, Shiyu's freezing range is constantly expanding. And Shiyu used the ice escape anyway, and it didn't consume any energy, and it lasted until late at night. In 5 hours, Shiyu updated the status of his skills 7 times. The continuous update of the status of skills also means that the limit of what Shiyu can do is also constantly increasing. And the calculation time of the Great Sage has also been reduced to 7 hours. There are 2 hours left, and Shiyu doesn't intend to wait any longer. After all, it is already late at night, and there will be Genin shift tomorrow, and Shiyu will have to get up early. In 5 hours, Shiyu's freezing range has expanded to a distance of 36 meters. The power has been increased by more than 3 times. At the same time, the speed of freezing has also been doubled, and it only takes 5 or 6 seconds to freeze everything within the range. Shiyu is also able to control chakra, focusing on quickly freezing something within range. The freezing time is about 3 seconds, depending on the size of the target. But freezing is only freezing the surface layer, wanting to completely let the cold penetrate the inside. It still takes about 10 seconds. Back home, Shiyu did not continue to wait for the ice escape ninjutsu that could be calculated in an hour. Instead, go straight to sleep. Shiyu woke up early the next morning. The ice escape ninjutsu calculated yesterday has also been calculated, completed. Shiyu checked briefly. Ice escape, ice and snow world. The name is not bad. The effect is basically as Shiyu requested. Ice escape, ice and snow world. It can be cast without seal, but it can only be used in conjunction with ice escape, frozen moment, and the chakra consumption to maintain the frozen moment, doubled. Create a world of ice and snow within the scope of freezing time, and manipulate all ice and snow for attack or defense. Ice and snow can be changed into ice crystals, ice cubes, and various types of ice and snow according to the idea of the host. Consuming chakra at the same time can create unlimited ice and snow within the range covered by the spell. Enemies or objects touched by ice and snow will be impacted by cold air and will be frozen quickly. After seeing the effect of this operation, I am very satisfied. This is basically the same as he had imagined, but the amount of chakra consumed may be quite a lot. Shiyu has experienced the chakra consumption of the frozen moment before, according to the current amount of chakra of Shiyu, without using his ninjutsu. To maintain the freezing time, it can only last for half an hour. And the ice and snow world technique will double the chakra consumption of the freezing moment. It seems that if you want to use Bingdun in the future, you must let Bingdun acquire the ability that does not consume. Otherwise, Shiyu wouldn't be able to last long at this chakra consumption rate. Replaced passive skill 7 with ice escape, ice and snow world. In this way, although it is not possible to get stuck in a state of no consumption, it is enough to replace 2 ice escapes during the battle. Come to ninja school. Naruto arrived early and was the first to greet Shiyu when he saw him. Shiyu, here. Shiyu nodded at Naruto, but turned around and sat down next to Naruto. Shikamaru frowned and looked at Shiyu. Why does it always feel like you are bringing a cold wind? Is there? Ice Dun's breath leaked out. Not so. Choji on the side. No. Why didn't I feel it? Shikamaru waved his hand. Maybe I feel wrong. After only seeing each other for one night, Shikamaru feels that Shiyu has changed a lot, and this change is not as simple as it seems. At this moment, Shiyu suddenly remembered that today seemed to be the first screen kiss between Naruto and Sasuke. I don't know if I have a chance to see it. He glanced at Naruto, who was smiling silly at himself, and then looked at Sasuke in the distance with a gloomy face, looking at him from time to time. Why does this guy seem to like to peek at himself? Uchiha Sasuke, what's the matter? And Sasuke was found shrunk back in embarrassment and pretended to look elsewhere. Shiryu didn't understand. What does this mean? Sasuke saw that Shiryu was surrounded by Shiryu. In the past, Shiryu could just talk to everyone, and his popularity was relatively good. And since Shiryu has changed, it seems that everyone has turned around Shiryu. Recently, even Inuzuka and Aburame Shino like to talk to Shiryu from time to time. This guy seems to be more popular. Congratulations, you're all genin. Iruka had already walked in while everyone was talking in low voices. Look at the genins who have successfully graduated in the class. Iruka was quite emotional. Okay, let's start dividing into classes. After dividing into classes, wait for your instructor to take you away. 7th class. Shiryu took a look at Naruto. It was Naruto and the others. Uchiha Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto. What? I'm in the same class as that fool. Naruto stood up directly, and Iruka looked at Naruto coldly. Naruto. Sit down for me. The staff arrangement is a decision made by Mr. Hokage after careful consideration. It's not your turn to question. Cut. Naruto sat down helplessly, but Naruto was quite unhappy about being in the same class as Sasuke. After all, that is the enemy. Shiryu will be fixed on little Sakura. Then there is Haruno Sakura, and to be honest, the little Sakura is pretty good, but it has nothing to do with Shiryu. At this time, little Sakura also turned her head suddenly and saw Shiryu. The moment the eyes of the two collided, little Sakura froze for a moment. Why did Shiryu secretly look at herself? Isn't he interested in Ino pigs? Moonlight Shiryu. Hearing his name, Shiryu didn't react at first, then he froze suddenly and quickly raised his head to look at Iruka. Iruka-sensei, are you calling me? Iruka wanted to get angry a little bit. Are these Shaois listening carefully to their class assignment? I didn't call you, you are the last one in the 7th class. Hearing this, Shiryu's mind went blank. Himself and Sasuke Naruto became ninjas of the 7th class. And what about little Sakura? Class 8, Aburame Shino, nor, Hyuga Hinata. Class 9, Haruno Sakura, Suzuka's Inoue, Watanabe Jin. Class 10, Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino, Akamichi Choji. Ino looked unhappy and depressed. It's a pity that I'm not in the same class as Shiryu-kun. Shiryu didn't listen to what Ino was saying now, but looked at little Sakura with disbelief. I just replaced little Sakura's position. What does 3rd generation think of this? The 9th class. At this moment Iruka spoke suddenly. Little Sakura and the other 3 looked at Iruka. Your 9th class is quite special. Except for performing tasks, you need to go to Muya Hospital to help at other times. Your guide, Jonin, is a medical ninja. She is usually at Konoha Hospital, so most of your mission time may also be at the hospital. Little Sakura and the others had no opinion, but Shiryu found it interesting. That counts, helping little Sakura to avoid detours for 2 years. Straight into a medical ninja. This seems to be pretty good too. Little Sakura's fighting power is just like that, even if she has mastered the strange power, but in the later stage, it is actually no different from ordinary Jonin. It is also quite good to directly become a medical ninja and perhaps have a higher achievement in medical ninjutsu. And then comes the moment of desperation. Watching each class go away, they were all taken away by their own Jonin instructor. Underneath are Shiryu, Sasuke, and Naruto. Naruto went directly to sit next to Shiryu. What is our instructor doing? It's been so long and I haven't come. Shiryu smiled. Just wait patiently. It's not too late. Being assigned to the 7th class means that I have become the key inspection object of the 3rd generation. That, you have to show your righteousness well. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.